Wednesday, September 11th. The time is now 7:05. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass. Here. Vice Mayor Urban. Here. Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Mayor Taylor.
Present. I just want to say that today we pause to remember September 11th, a day that changed our world forever 23 years ago. Thousands of innocent lives were lost in an unimaginable act of terror. So I would like to, while we're standing for our invocation, that we do a moment, also do a moment of silence, Commissioner Kelly, for that as well.
If we could begin with the moment of silence, and then we shall pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come thanking you for this day. We come thanking you, God, for the great city of Opa-locka. And, oh God, as we come tonight, we lift up the families of 9/11, continue to comfort them, be with them, and guide them. And as we come tonight in this meeting, oh God, help us as a community, as a city, to realize, oh God, that united we stand and divided we fall. So we thank you tonight for being here. Help us to realize, oh God, that you've allowed us to come together. So help us those things which are pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Madam Clerk, I see we don't have any awards, proclamations, or acknowledgements at this moment. We're going down to the approval of the consent agenda. Do we have any pulls, deferrals, or deletions from the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
yes, I'd like to pull 2, 3, and 13.
All right, anyone else? And Madam Clerk, I know you said that Commissioner Williams is on her way. Did she say that she had any pulls or deletions or deferrals?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so we're moving right along. All right. All right. Can I get a motion to
Mr. Mayor.
approve, Commissioner Kelly?
I want to be clear because it came up in my briefing. One of the items that's on the agenda regarding the resolution, we need to do the ordinance before we take up the resolution, which is under the public hearing, but there's a resolution.
16B3.
But the resolution is actually listed under 15.4. But the ordinance takes place before the resolution. With that notation, I'll move the agenda.
Okay. When we get to it, we'll move the agenda around. All right. So can I have approval of the tonight's consent agenda? Oh, I'm sorry, before we do that, Madam Commissioner, do you have any pulls, deletions, or deferrals of consent? You good? All right. Can I get a motion to move?
Move it.
Move.
Second.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Bass. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Urban. Yes. Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams. Yes. Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, so we're gonna go to the approval of the agenda, but Commissioner Kelly has requested that we move it around. So Madam Attorney, what we'll do is 16B 1, 2, and 3 will go before planning and zoning after new items. So all of our second reading. Okay? All right. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly, second by, who was the second?
Pass.
Commissioner Baz. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Urban.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, we're going into the approval of minutes. I'll read into record all of the meeting titles and dates. And if we have no opposition, then we'll make a motion and vote on all this one. So commission workshop meeting minutes, July 10th, 2024. Regular commission meeting minutes, July 10th, 2024. Commission workshop meeting minutes, July 22nd, 2024. Commission workshop meeting minutes, July 24th, 2024. Regular commission meeting minutes, July 24th, 2024. Special commission meeting minutes, July 29th, 2024. And special commission meeting minutes, August 26th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Williams. Madam Clerk, on the
Commi-
minutes?
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, do we have any District 1, District 2, or state reports?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, moving on to our public presentations. Now calls for Mr. Lorenzo Johnson, Senior CEO and Founder of Community Youth Against Violence. He's gonna reference the Operation Teen Curfew. Mr. Johnson, you have the floor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for this opportunity to come before you. Community Youth Against Violence, it's an organization that we have been around for a minute, and we are working hard to work. We have a project that we're working on, community Operation Teen Curfew. And what we have been doing, we have been meeting with all the municipalities throughout Dade County and to implement the curfew in this particular city. And we know we had to come before you guys first in order, because it's been on the books for a while, but we want to see if the city wants to be a part of that, because we have met with all the other municipalities and they are with a thumbs up and they want to be a part of it. The key thing is not just a curfew. We just want to develop accountability in the household. And if we feel if we develop accountability in the household, that can help curb some of the crime that's going on in our cities. And we're not, you may say, well, crimes are happening all day long. Yeah, crimes are happening all day long, but we feel that accountability, once we do accountability in there with these parents, we feel that there'll be some structure and there'll be some order, and with that alone, that will carry through the whole process of the day and night. So we are instituting this. We sent some emails, and we also delivered some information on the curfew to the commissioners to get a chance to actually look at it, and also to you, Mayor. So we trying to get a thumbs up to be able to bring this Operation Teen Curfew. We have met with some of your chief police and in reference to that. We met with all the chief of police throughout the whole Dade County. We meet with all the municipalities, like I said, from Homestead all the way down to, because we have to, the key thing about this whole thing is that we got to close the gap. And it's more psychological than anything. We're not here to jack kids up. It's here to put something on their mind, just like a style. Kids say they want to wear their pants down, it's got to be a style. So we want the kids to be panicking and understanding that they can't be out there, and we got to have these parents, because the parent, if you look at it, the parent will get a citation after a certain amount of days. So the responsibility is going to fall on the parents. So we are adamant about what we're doing. We're consistent, and we know that adamancy and consistency makes a difference. And so we're adamant and consistent about what we're trying to do throughout this whole Dade County. So we want Opa-locka to be a part of this as well. When you want to say something.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Honorable Commissioners. My name is Richard Dunn. This initiative was actually in the books back in the days of Miami-Dade County when the late Commissioner James Burke initiated it back in the 90s. It was adopted then. However, there was great pushback from the community groups like the ACLU, and it had to pass some muster, because what the issues were, they did not, which I would not be a part of, did not want us to criminalize our young Black males or young Black females. However, we initiated this teen curfew curfew back in 2010 when I served on the City of Miami Commissioner in a district that's similar to the City of Opa-locka, District 5, which encompasses Liberty City, Overtown, Little Haiti, etc. And the initiative was so effective that it did deter the violence that was levied against the youth in the city of Miami. And the rest of the City of Miami commissioners in the other districts adopted it citywide. So it is on the books, and we would like to appeal to you all to consider accepting it here in the city of Opa-locka, given the amount of crimes that are occurring with our young, particularly our young Black males and young Black females even. Just the other day at the Omega Activity Center, which I'm a proud member of the Omega Sci-Fi Inc. fraternity, we had a shooting that, even though that's in Miami Gardens, but we had a shooting, which is the neighboring city, that started with 2 women fighting. So, you know, we just are concerned about crime, period, but particularly with our youth. It has worked. We do have the data to prove it, and we solicit your support.
And one thing I want to say too, that the bullet has no jurisdiction. When that bullet travels, it travels from here to Opa-locka, and it's keep on traveling. So when the kid or someone gets shot or killed throughout the whole Dade County, throughout the city, rather, throughout the United States, it's in effect. And so we got to, even if we're making somebody mad and somebody say, well, you're gonna make people, no, it's okay to make people mad if you're saving lives. And that's what it was all about, trying to help save the life. It may not be picture perfect, but we got to do something. We got to put our foot down on something to make some demands. And that's what it's all about here.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Dunn, for this, bringing this to our city. Do we have any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you. Very familiar with the work that you've been doing. Have you had a chance to meet with our chief or manager or any of our public safety staff?
Yes, I met with the chief, and I met with the Deputy Stocks and the chief. We sat and talked briefly about it, and they was very instrumental. The Stock was very instrumental in helping us, you know, mobilize this to the city. So we have spoken with them. We like to say, Pastor Kelly, is that the motive is not to jack kids up. The motive is to make a mark and make, you know, it's more psychological than anything, because if you're thinking that if the mindset saying that I got to be in a certain time, and the mom and the mom's, you know, 12-year-old kid should not be sleeping. 12-year-old kid should not be in the street, and the mom sleeping and snoring at home. You know, we have to bring these parents accountable for their children. They have to invest, and they got to be there. They got to understand that their kids are valued to them. Now, once they do all the things, and, you know, you notice that a lot of time, you know, they up and down, and then when the kid gets shot or killed, then the question is what kind of parent you was. But they want to run up and down and collect money and do all these other things. But what kind of parent you was before your child get there? That's one of the key things. Sorry.
If I may add to that, just for the record, when we brought it back in 2010, it was tweaked. And when ACLU challenged it, they could not find any hold in it because it was legally sound. And we did a series, which we would desire to do with the city of Opa-locka. We did a series of,
Talk to the mic.
sorry. We did a series of public hearings so that the community could be aware of how it would be implemented in conjunction with the city of Opa-locka's police department as well, if this is blessed by you all.
Okay.
And we do have a plan that our community youth can that will work along with the police department, with the process of, if there's a curfew, if there's anything that go down, we will, and we're willing to sit down and one-on-one and explain it more in detail. But we did send some literature. You can look at the literature, any question that you guys may have. Hey, you know,
Mr. Mayor, I know you sent the literature to all of us, and since you've met with the chief and deputy, I'm pretty sure they will speak with the city manager, and hopefully we will get a report from them on the next steps or their recommendation on it. Anytime you talk about curfew, that's always a sensitive issue. But I think the bottom line is all of us concerned about our young people and our parents as well. So I'll await that information coming from them since you gave it to them and the manager's office, and we'll go from there. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank
All
you.
right, any other questions?
Mr.
Commissioner
Mayor,
Williams?
I don't have a question. I just want to thank you all for coming, for being here. Everything that we do, every initiative that we implement is a step forward. It's something that we can do. Is it going to be perfect? It's not. People say gun buybacks don't work. People say curfews don't work. People say there's so many things. We know that there's work and don't work. There's pros and cons. Actually, I do have a question. Is there any city right now that have adopted?
Well, the county in whole.
Of course, yes.
County, they are in. We got cities like Pinecrest, which
Okay.
they just give jaywalking tickets. You know what I mean? We got Coral Gables, we got South Miami.
Okay.
Those Miami Garden. They're everybody's in, but we just right. We just want to lock it in. We don't want
Got
to be
it.
the gap. If any city don't be in, then there's a little gap there. We want to lock it in. So when it does go out, we want to say that we all are in it. We all on the same page.
Well, like Commissioner Kelly said, I look forward to you all meeting with our chief and our assistant chief and fleshing it out, and then they will get back with us on any recommendations. But as I stated before, thank you all for coming and presenting this initiative.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Mayor Kelly? Mayor Kelly.
Commissioner Bass?
Hey,
Commissioner Bass?
y'all didn't want to hear what I just said. So I just took a few seconds to kind of scan the document, and I agree 90%, 95% of what I just read, just scanning it. I don't know if there's going to be an opportunity to kind of, like she said, to flush it out to see what would work, because I saw the citations, $500 after the third offense. And I work in a school system. I've seen parents who have done all they can and the kids are still acting a fool. So I just got a little issue with that one.
Well, what it is, that will help us direct, because once we find out that there's a dysfunctional family, and we can't. Once we find out there's that can help us lead to that particular family. Our organization will actually go out. If there's a situation like that, our organization will go to the family and try to find out and try to see what we can do to help the situation at hand. Also, we're putting together something called, just refer to the fine, because a lot of people say, well, I ain't got no money, I ain't paying that. In other words, there may be a way out. The parent may could do community service hour, in a parenting academy, parent academy, parent understanding how you need. And I know with us, they say, you can't tell me how to raise my child, but the key thing is that if they want to pay the fine, there may be an option where they could go to parent academy that would help them save the life of their children.
Yeah, I understand all of that.
Yeah.
But like I said, and maybe that 1 or 2%
Right.
who really did their job,
Right.
I don't think it's fair for them to have to pay a fine across the board of $500. That's just me talking.
No, I couldn't agree with you more, Commissioner Bass. I too am an educator in the Miami-Dade County Public School System. I formerly served as a student services support specialist, and a lot of the absenteeism and the difficulty that we have with students is more holistic than what meets the eye. So we're very sensitive to that, and it's not a definite 3 strikes and you're out. We will consider all of that, and hopefully we can provide some wraparound services if need be for the entire family, because we understand it's more societal, it's more generational, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I'm gonna agree with my colleagues. We're gonna await the presentation that you give to the chief of police to bring it back to us.
Thank you.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
coming. All right, we're going into our citizens forum. Madam Clerk, can you please state how to participate in citizens forum?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. City of Opa-locka Commission meetings are held in person at the Opa-locka Government Center, City Commission Chambers, 780 Fisherman Street, 3rd floor, Opa-locka, Florida. Members of the public wishing to address the commission may do so in person or virtually. Those persons wishing to participate virtually should register prior to the scheduled meeting time on the city's website at www.opalockafl.gov. When speaking before the commission, please make sure to give your full name and address for the record. There is a 3-minute time limit for public comments. Please adhere to the decorum policy, which is part of the commission meeting agenda. City Commission meetings are aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-locka. And at this time, Mr. Mayor, we do have one virtual public comment.
Okay.
If IT can confirm.
All right, we'll come back to the virtual comment. So citizens forum is open for those in the chambers, and then we'll go back to the ones on citizens forum is open.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Anthony Graham. The address is 2140 York Street. I give my time to Brian Dennis.
My name is
Can
Kevin
you speak
Pollock.
into the,
My name is Kevin Pollock. My address 2140. I give my time to Brian Grant.
Good evening, Mayor Commissioner. Brian Dennis, address 2140 York Street. About 2 weeks ago, I received 60 pages of fiction in my email. And in that fiction, it was saying that certain people was telling me what to say. So let me break down who I really am. Ain't no suit tonight. What you get ready to get is the community activists that have been coming to the Opa-locka City Commission meeting since 1997, when Robert Ingram was the mayor. Nobody tells me what to write, and nobody tells me what to do. Nobody pulls my strings. I'm not Pinocchio. I'm not somebody's play toy. When the city of Opa-locka, because certain people don't want me to talk about the corruption that's going on in the city, let me explain something to you. When y'all was reading on Word on the Street articles in the Miami Times, I'm the one who was writing Word on the Street.
Mr. Dennis?
Here go the articles right here. Did just a few of them. I was writing those articles on Word on the Street and exposing the corruption in the city from 2015 to 2020. Let me tell you what you don't know. The Miami Times won the National Black Newspaper of the Year 3 times. Guess who was the #2 column in that paper those 3 times they won it? The Word on the Street column was. The #1 column that was being read in the Miami Times at that time was the obituary section. In 2018, I wrote a column called Time for New Faces in the city of Opa-locka. You know who we pushed at that time, who I was pushing at that time? I put Matthew, the former mayor Matthew Packett, who quit. Alvin Burke, who God took away from us. The other cat that says, you know what happened with that, all us on the news for, which gonna cost the city a major lawsuit for a poor investigation. And Commissioner Bass. Those are the 4 people that I supported in this article. But guess what we got? We still got corruption in the city, same game, new faces. So now that the newspaper columnists and the activists don't decide to run for office, now it's a problem. See, I keep telling y'all it's a snake in the bag. Watch Kill Bill 2, it's a snake in the bag. See, everybody looking at the money, but it's a snake in the bag. Snake. So let me be real with you. Nobody tells me what to do. And I know what your contract says. It talks about that when the city of Opa-locka gets sued for something that he does, the city pays for it, leaving him free. But the citizens on the hook for the lawsuit that's getting ready to come. That's slanderous with poor investigation. It's all politically motivated. All of it. And ain't no proof to it. There was a shooting right there on that same block. Guess who came? Metro-Dade. Crime scene investigation. Took people to jail. checked them for gun residue and everything. But that couldn't happen, right? So now let me go to something else. Let's talk about this RV thing. So I want the expanded community to really understand what I'm getting ready to say. Because it's not a us against you or a black or white thing. It's a human thing. I was dead set against that ordinance. Why? Because we have a housing shortage in Miami-Dade County. And in 2019, Javier Soto, the former Miami-Dade County Commissioner, he put that on the agenda when Carlos Alvarez was, when Carlos Jimenez was the mayor. So guess what's happening? Somebody piggybacked on it. But here's why I'm against it. One, because of homelessness. Two, I got young men that I deal with that stay in those trailers. Got ankle bracelets on their leg. Their address is those trailers. That if they are moved, the Department of Corrections gets to violate them if they don't have an address and they go back to jail. So the ordinance wasn't thought out. It wasn't carried out right. Then there was a 90-day moratorium, right? That was supposed to went out, right? Who was responsible for that? Snake in the bag. The snake in the bag didn't send.
Mr. Dennis, come on now, we can't
Send
do that.
everybody that was in there. He did not send those same people that was up here for that meeting and send that information out there. Listen, stop trying to protect the city manager when y'all know he ain't no good and he ain't right. It is what it is. It is what it is. He ain't right and y'all know he ain't right, but this is part of the foolishness that goes on in the city. Nah, bruh. Nah, that man went to jail for nothing. That whole thing was politically motivated because I decided to run. I'm running, bruh. I don't care what nobody say. And that corruption gonna stop. Who went to jail behind it? Did y'all know that the reason why y'all can't get the infrastructure done is because a certain commissioner wanted to control $90 million when Calvin Baker was the city manager?
Mr.
Hey.
We can't do
Listen,
that.
I understand what you're saying, Mr. Mayor, but no, that's
but
60.
we can't do that now. Come on now, we can't do
Listen,
that now.
when the city is
do
in
that.
trouble financially and the state of Florida has been here for 8 years, tell me, what do you want me to say?
I understand.
And
understand,
if I'm out of line, I sincerely apologize, but enough is enough.
We got the point.
Enough is enough. Don't drag me for something that I didn't do all of a sudden because I decided to run and we're not supporting people no more. No, it's on now. It's on now. I am your next Opa-locka City Commissioner, Brian Dennis. Punch 192.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Citizens Forum is still open.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioner, and the rest of the city administration. I'm Mr. Luis B. Santiago, and I live in 1156 Perry or Perry Street. Any way that I pronounce it is the same road. I had 2 points tonight. I only had one before, but now I have 2. And for the first one, I want to say thank you to Commissioner Bass because you bring a very important point. Again, regarding about the curfew they like to implement in the city. We have to see everything, the way it's going to be, because parents, we try to be the best way we can, but sometimes children don't listen. And yes, it's a very good thing sometimes, but we have to be very careful with that. And thank you that you bring that good point, Commissioner Bash. The other point, I know that I have 3 minutes. I know that you're not going to give me 6 or 7 minutes, only 3. Let's respect the rules that we have here in the great city of Opa-locka. We're here tonight, and more of you know why we're here. And the only thing that we're going to ask you is, yes, we're going to be very respectable when order. And the only we ask you is for, yes, thinking a little bit more about the residents and have some mercy for us. And thank you very much. And I'm Mr. Luis B. Santiago, and I want to say thank you to the Lord and thank you to the government that they permit to me to keep alive here in the city. Thank you.
Citizens Forum is still open.
Hi, I'm Merrick Williams, 1211 Perry Street. I just want to talk briefly in my time about the RV situation. I sent an email thanking this commission for addressing the issue. I think that we do not need RVs in our community. I think that the people here the gentleman that was up before me, who mentioned providing housing for homeless and people that are incriminated, that's not a requirement of the city, nor is it a request for people like me to have people that can't find homes other place live in my backyard. People use these as return on investments. They rent them out to people who have criminal backgrounds, some of them, as we just heard, as well as predators, as well as sexual predators, all unchecked, all unlicensed, and none of you know about who's running around with ankle bracelets and can't live in particular communities. Why should we be forced, or why would we have the impetus to have them live next to us? I'm not quite sure why that makes sense. So I thank you for that, and I hope that you do not reconsider that. I think the citizens here are fully aware of what that would imply to the people that pay taxes here, and we don't want it.
Thank you. Citizens Forum is still open.
Hi, my name is Lizbel Vasquez. I live in 1021 Wilmington Street.
Can you talk into the mic for me, please?
No,
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
my name is Lizbel Vasquez. I live in 1021 Wilmington Street, and my concern is the water bills. I have been struggling lots with very extreme high water bills, and to the last, I even spent 4 months without water due to very high water bill. And then now I finally got it connected. I got like a $1,400 water bill, then I get a $400 water bill, then I get a $9,062 water bill, where they just tell me to,
One second, please. Go ahead, ma'am.
where they just tell me to make sure that I'm looking for a leak. I mean, at that point, I don't think it's something that should be so much that I have to look for at $9,042. Anyhow, in the process of reviewing all of this, I also looked at all the statements for the past 2 years that you're able to do so on the app. And I've come to see that the majority of my bills in the past 2 years have all service dates overlapping. So besides I'm being charged extremely high, I'm also being charged twice, for lots of time. And every single month it's happening, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, but that all adds up and I can only go back up to 2 years. I don't know how much longer that has been occurring. I just would like to know, when would I be able, or when would like a representative or anything from the water department probably be here to where they can answer questions and help us, because it's very limited the help you can get here in the office. They just want you to just go look for a leak. It's not normal to get a $9,042 water bill. I just got another water bill recently. So where my water bill was $15,000, now it's 11. So how do the numbers fluctuate like that? So that's just my concern. So I wanted to see if you guys happen to know, when will the water department actually be around to?
Okay, so right now we're in Citizens Forum, but what I can do is I can connect you with staff who's right here, who will take your information down. And
Okay.
those of you that have concerns, once you finish speaking, we have a staff member in the back. She's right there. Wave your hand, please. And she will take your name and number.
Perfect.
That way somebody will connect with you.
I appreciate it.
All right, no
Thank you.
problem. Thank you. Citizens Forum is still open.
Hi, good evening. I believe I was the online one. I decided to come in. My name is Suhei Hova over at 2020 Rutland. I believe some of you remember me from the workshop. I know it's probably going to come up a few times tonight, but I just wanted to loop it back in and bring it to your attention to see if we've made any way in trying to amend the ordinance ban that we have coming up in Opa-locka. I know that there are some concerns, like the gentleman expressed here, that there may be some bad apples out there, but I don't think the whole orchid should be dried out. Rather than, banning all the RVs, maybe we should consider doing an amendment where there are some limitations, maybe limiting to 1 RV per property, not allowing there to be any dwellings, just considering amending the situation so that we're not banning all the RVs on every property. Because there are scenarios like myself where it's not being used as a dwelling. It's just parked there. I travel with my husband and our dogs. So we don't have it connected to any kind of local source. There's no electricity, there's no water, there's no sewer. We just use it when we're ready to hit the road. And I don't think it's fair for someone like myself who is complying to have to go out and find, where to park it and have to incur an additional expense every month just to be able to park it somewhere else because there are a few people who may be doing things the wrong way. I had even brought it up last time to Ms. Irvin that possibly I'm even open to maybe having to require us to get a permit to park our RV on our property. Making sure that it's parked on the side or in the back, limit the street parking, just as a way to maybe reconsider and possibly put some options on the table of things that, we could amend to try to not ban all of them, because not everyone is doing things the incorrect way. So not all of us should pay the price for it. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Pickett, and my housing is 3181 Northwest 77th Street. And I am too a member of Community Youth Against Violence, thanks to Pastor Johnson and Reverend Dunn. And I think it's so important to bring back the curfew due to the fact that no child shouldn't be in the streets after dark unless they've been supervised by a parent or a responsible adult. Due to the fact that no parent in here, no one wants to get that certain knock on the door from a police or a detective to say, I'm sorry, they tell you that your child has been murdered or been arrested for participating in some type of crime, one form or another. And from personal experience, when I was a child, when I was a juvenile, I have been in the juvenile detention center, the boys' home, foster home, group homes, and been to prison 3 times. And speaking from experience with the posses and the burglars and the robbers that I was involved with after dark, these are the things that's happened. And the end is that it's to be locked up. And no child shouldn't have to go through the things that I went through, the dark tunnels of self-destruction, if they are in the house. The safe place for a child to be is in the house. And like Mr. Johnson said, with the help from the other municipalities and other people who are concerned about the safety of our kids, this thing can be worked out and there could be a lot of success. With the help of recreational directors and churches ecumenically coming together we have to have something for the kids to do. After school program, and I'm a youth counselor now at Mount Tabor Baptist Church, so we have great turnouts. And one of our protocols is for our kids to graduate from high school and go on to be matriculated in college to consummate college curriculum. And with the help of the other municipalities and you guys who are making this happen today, it's so possible. And there's nothing but success there. And Mrs. Bass, but last but not least, I would like to piggyback on what you said about some of the parents who did their best and the child are still doing things that they shouldn't. And that's true. And this is when the recreation directors and the churches can come together and have after school programs, and it would be a big help. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you, sir, for coming out. Citizens Forum is still open, but however, listen, you all that are in the chambers, while people are talking, we're going to ask that you not speak. We want to show respect to all of the presenters that are coming up tonight. So we're asking that you do, if you do have to have a conversation, then please exit to the hallway, have your conversation and come back in so that we are respecting everyone who is behind the mic. You have the floor, ma'am.
I got it.
Yes, ma'am.
My name Vicky Howard. I'm 14225 Northwest 22nd Court. 70 years. Every day. Okay. She gonna take my 3 minutes because I don't want to go to jail tonight. Okay. All right.
My name is Queen Anderson. My address is 750 Curtis Drive. I'm up here to say that I'm agreeing with the young lady that came up with the RVs, because in other communities, there are some ordinance that is set in order. So what is the ordinance of Opa-locka? How do they carry it out? What I'm noticing, it's not so much of the RVs itself, it's the occupation, the dwelling. Are they using them for rental or whatever? Which they say these different people are coming in. We don't know what's going on your private property. We do not know that. And some of the citizens are concerned about those matters with these RVs and people are living in them. And we don't know what type of people or what is happening. That's one of the major concerns. But the RV itself does not pose any danger unless there is someone in it. Or what about how does it affect the electricity, or how do they actually have that dwelling set up? You know, what about the lights? How does it get connected? How does it, the water? Is there some kind of extra bill that that particular RV pays these particular expenses because it's set there and someone is actually living it as a home? Those are the things that we're asking about. But the RV itself, like the lady says, she has to have somewhere to stay. And a lot of communities, they're somewhat hidden somewhere. That's what they say. You got to have it behind a fence or whatever, and not be, you know, where everybody can notice it. Because in Miami Garden, there are certain things you cannot have in the front of your home or in the side of your home. That's just the way it is. And it's a money-making situation for these people. We understand that. But like you say, the whole problem is housing. How can our community provide housing for people so they don't have to do these things? And then like the young lady, and also I want to address the issue with the gentleman about the teen problem. And there are kids that's going to do whatever they want to do, but there has to be some kind of boundary set. Somebody has to take responsibility, accountability. They might not get paid the money, but it has to be some kind of boundary, because parents, and I'm a parent myself, but when this child goes and do whatever they want to do and they are lawless and nothing is set in order, and we as a community, everybody, whatever color you are, needs to stop and say, this is not right. But we turn our head and we say, well, that's not my problem. That's not my child. And these parents that are having problems that's done got out of hand because nobody is helping them. They're just letting them like be. It's not the $500, it's just a beginning. You know, it's not going to really work with the $500. So let's find a way where you can get counseling, like the man said, the churches. We have gotten away from family. We all are family, no matter what color you are, no matter where you came, you got the same problems that we all have. We have the same problems, but we say, oh, over here, over there, your child is acting bad, my child is acting bad. It does not matter. What are we as a community? What are we as a city going to do to incur? He just came up with an idea. We can take the idea and critique it and put it for our city, go back to the RVs, the same thing. We want to reach a happy medium. We want to live in peace. That's all we want to do. And some things that we do is kind of under the table and they're not right. Laws are made. And once the law is set, you got to pay the consequences. Ignorance is bliss. People say, well, I didn't know. But if there's things to set up workshops and said we need to get out and learn about things, resources, look for things. And that's what I have to say.
And the garbage.
Thank you, Ms. Queen.
Then she was saying about the garbage and what they're concerned about. A lot of these people have these RVs and no property, then the garbages they don't have, because those garbage cans, it's only one per family, because they're if you know that you pay taxes, those bills are in your taxes at the end of the year. And if you got 2 garbage cans sitting out in front of your house, it should not be, because you're not paying for 2. So that's what some of the concerns for some of the citizens in Opa-locka.
Thank you, Ms. Queen.
Good evening, Audrey Dominguez, 1147 Jan Avenue. I wanted to speak in regards to the RV ordinance that passed with 2 readings. This is in regards to an ordinance that passed October 26, 2022. We had 2 readings. We were at the 2nd reading of the ordinance for the certificate of reoccupancy. Residents were never properly informed, notified, and They came and addressed their concerns. That day, they asked the city manager if he would defer. He deferred it because one of the commissioners, Commissioner Bass and myself, we said we needed a workshop because a lot of the residents were not aware and didn't understand what it was about. Now, August 27th, 2024, we had the RV workshop. We all witnessed what happened that night when the residents were not informed of the changes that were going to affect them. Residents and commissions have addressed these concerns for many, many years regarding the lack of communications or last-minute meetings, workshops, and events. If you want to avoid this, you must do a better job of communicating to our residents something that is going to affect them. Now, I do remember that, Mr. Mayor, that you mentioned at the last commission meeting, April 10th, regarding a resolution that Miami-Dade County passed April 2nd, which I looked it up. And the resolution directing the county mayor to provide the Miami-Dade County appraiser with notice of properties receiving a homestead tax exemption, which have been cited for unlawful parking of a recreational vehicle, RV, residential property for living or sleeping quarters. You can lose your homestead exemption on this, and it's punishable by $200 penalty. Now, my question is, who's responsible to bringing this information to the residents, especially something that is going to affect them, like this change that was made in Miami-Dade County? Is it the state representative? Is it Mr. Mayor, you found out about it. How are they supposed to know about these changes? So they are here because they want to be in compliance with the city. Okay. Just like code enforcement went and put up a satellite to see where these RVs are, I think they need to do a better job as far as informing them of the changes, and any notification that they can get is going to be helpful for them to do right by the city. So we need to establish a system providing regular updates regarding any changes from Miami-Dade County that may affect residents so they're aware of their rights and obligations.
Thank you. Please, no, please, thank you. We're still in a meeting. Citizens forum is still open.
Good evening. I speak Spanish. My English is not good. She helped me to translate. Oh.
All right, if you speak, we have our clerk.
Oh, it's
will
okay,
translate.
it's
Just
okay.
go ahead and she'll translate. You can sit where you are, Madam Clerk.
Okay. My name is Luis Galvez, 1206 Wilmington Street, Opa-locka. Now I continue in Spanish. My English, sorry. Somos una gran comunidad trabajadora.
He's saying that we're a great community, a great working community.
Llegamos a este país con grandes sueños.
We came to this country with great dreams.
Uno de estos sueños, la libertad y el sistema democrático que tenemos.
One of the dreams was their liberty and the democratic.
Como comunidad, cada vez nos unimos y nos fortalecemos más.
Like a community, every day we get together and we get stronger.
Quisiera pedir a nombre de esta gran comunidad
I would like to ask and on behalf of this great community
que se tome en consideración la ley que pasaron sobre el retiro de los RV de nuestras propiedades.
to take in consideration of the ordinance that was passed for the RVs.
Tengan en cuenta que nadie recibió esa notificación para poder venir a apelar sobre esa ley.
Let it be known that nobody received any announcements of what the ordinance was about or what was it take place.
Quisiera que tomaran en consideración lo que hicieron nuestros vecinos de Miami Garden.
And they're asking to take consideration what the great city of Miami Gardens did
Con la regulación de los RV, por ejemplo,
with the resolution of the RVs, like example,
tener registro, chapas del RV,
that our RVs should have a registration and a tag,
que no sea con fines de lucro,
that they don't have any I don't know.
que no sea, digamos, para obtener una ganancia, un dinero extra.
Also that nobody should be living in it.
o sea, renta, para
No renting
Eh.
in it. Nobody should be,
que limiten la cantidad por casa,
that they should limit how many RVs per household,
que estandaricen las medidas de los RV,
that they standardize the RVs.
reubicarlos en alguna parte de nuestra propiedad
They should be placed in somewhere in their property.
y quizás como última alternativa, y no porque sea la última, menos importante,
And lastly, but another option,
que pongan cierto impuesto por tenerlo eso en nuestra propiedad.
that they should put some type of charges so they could have them in there.
Con eso termino. Muchas gracias.
And with that, he's finished. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Citizens Forum is still open.
Hi, hello, good evening. My name is Emmanuel Exposito. I live in 561 Sharat Avenue. My question is related to the RVs, okay? Is related to the RVs. We a little bit worried and with this whole situation because we still do not understand what all this happened in silence. So there's something weird there. So we just want to like work together, find smart ways to help and work as a community. Okay, there's a smart ways to prevent renting. There's a smart way to identify what kind of people live in that area. Okay, it's not necessarily on the RVs. There's a smart ways to help each others to be better every day. Okay, so please consider this ordinance. I'm positive that this could work for everybody, and this is something that we're gonna appreciate as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manuel. Citizens Forum is still open.
Hola, buenas noches. 1240 Perry Street. Si me puedes ayudar con la
Sí,
traducción,
cómo
te lo
no.
voy a agradecer. Yo tengo un RV en mi casa.
She has an RV at her house.
Yo sería incapaz de poner alguna persona en mi casa que le diera algún peligro a mis hijas porque tengo dos niñas.
She said that she would never put in danger her daughters and have somebody living in the RVs.
También yo tengo dos cestos de basura azules, no porque tenga varias personas viviendo en mi casa, pero sí tengo dos cestos de basura porque vienen muchas cosas de Amazon por mis hijas.
She says she also has 2 trash cans that are blue, not because she has other people living in her household, it's because she has a lot of packages from Amazon coming in.
Ok, yo tengo la situación del RV, pero mi esposo aquí presente tiene un camión. Nosotros tenemos que pagar $600 al mes por parquear ese camión en una yarda.
She said that she also have a problem with the RVs, but she also have her husband who's a truck driver, and they have to pay $600 a month extra for her husband to park the truck in a yard.
Y yo entiendo que cuando él se va a las 4 de la mañana es bastante irrespetuoso para mis vecinos que el camión hace bulla y decidimos pagar una yarda para que mis vecinos estén tranquilos y confortables en la zona mía donde estamos.
And she understands that the reason why they pay $600 a month for her husband to park their truck in another place is because she's considerate of her neighbors. And they know that when her husband leaves at 4 o'clock in the morning, it makes a loud noise. So they both decided not to inconvenience their neighbors. And so they pay $600 out so they could not inconvenience their neighbors and park their truck in some other place.
Y volviendo al tema del RV, en mi caso me es bastante difícil mover el RV. Cuando yo lo moví a mi casa, le pregunté a mi único vecino que tengo del lado izquierdo, porque de mi lado derecho el vecino me queda bastante lejos y no hubo ningún tipo de problema. Vine a la ciudad, pedí un permiso y pregunté antes de comprarlo porque no cuestan $2. Ese RV que yo tengo costó $37,000.
She said that when she bought her RV, when she first moved here, she bought her RV. She asked her neighbor to her left because that was the only neighbor she had. And they said that they had no problem. And so she bought the RV, which is $37,000. She paid for her RV. And then she said that she came to the city to get a permit for the RVs.
Entonces la cuestión mía es, cuando hicieron el workshop, según los que tenemos RVs, estamos afeando la ciudad, poniendo la ciudad más fea y estamos bajando el precio de las casas, lo cual yo no creo que sea cierto ni sea justo.
She's saying that when they did the workshop, what they were saying is that the RVs were making the city ugly and that they were not beautifying the city, and that is not true.
3 minutes.
We understand. Thank you all. Was that it?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And again, we're asking you all to be respectful, please. Citizens Forum is still open.
Janie Russell, 1210 Perry Street. I'm here tonight. First of all, to Commissioner Williams, thank you for bringing the ordinance concerning the RVs. And I understand perfectly well when it's a burden, a real burden on you as a citizen. I've lived in Opa-locka for 30 years, over 30 years, and I got a real problem. About June, I got a water bill that was $9. I pay my water bill by direct withdrawal. So I don't look at my water bill every month. I just know that the money comes out of the bank. It was $9. The next month, I got a water bill for $600 and something. I thought, well, maybe, they forgot 1 month, so something got to be wrong. Immediately, my husband went out and checked the pipes. We know how to turn the water off to see is there water going to the house, and then you'll know if the meter is moving. The meter was not moving, so that lets you know that there was no leak coming from my house. I followed the rule that Opa-locka told me to do. I came down to the city. I met with Miami-Dade County, told them what happened. They put a report in, filled out the report that they gave me, called like they told me to, and somebody would come out in a couple of days. Well, somebody came out. They said there was nothing wrong with the meter. The next day, I told them it has to be something wrong because I got another water bill, which was another $600 and something. I went back for the last year and checked my water bills. Every now and then, our water is a little bit high because I have a garden in the back, and sometimes I spend a lot of time back there watering the garden. After I did that, I came back to the city again and told them, we checked and there's no leak. They sent out, Miami-Dade County came out and said that they were going to change the meter. They said our meter had been changed in 2019. I'm following the rules of what Opa-locka told me to follow. They came out, said they were going to change the meter. So that day I went on the back of my pool area and I saw the guy back there changing the meter. So I went outside because I wanted to take pictures to see what was he doing. Well, he had broke the meter. He broke the meter. So I said to him, I said, you broke the meter. He said, oh no, I'm just changing the pipes. I said, but the water is coming out. He said, well, it's not on your side. You don't have anything to worry about. I said, okay. Went back in the house, thought everything was done. The next morning I wake up and go outside to see my little garden. Water is everywhere, just absolutely everywhere. So I couldn't wait. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't wait until the city opened. So we called a plumber. A plumber came out and dug up the pipe, because it was gushing out on our side. But what happened was when he changed that meter, because the pipe, this is what he left on the ground. This is the pipe. These are the tags. These are the tags from everything that they did.
he left it down there on the ground. He didn't even pick it up. So I went and picked it up so that I could show the water department that they changed the meter, they broke it, they need to fix it. I called, didn't get no response. Called again, didn't get no response. I checked my water bill. I got another water bill this week for another almost $1,000. They broke that pipe. And the reason why I know they broke it is because when our plumber came and he changed our side, it wasn't leaking. So when they tried to change the meter, because it's so old, they broke it. And when they broke it on my side, that side got script. And that's why the water was gushing out on my side. So they blame us for all of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen. I could appreciate everybody's problems. We got pipe problems. We don't need no illegal hookups. We need people to take responsibility. Just like I got to pay that $1,600 water bill, we need to take responsibility. We have been going over this with these water bills forever and ever. And please, let's not make this trailer issue a Black Hispanic issue, because that is not the issue.
Yes, ma'am.
On my street, it's not going to be the issue. We're not doing this because of your color or who you are. We're doing this because of this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Russell. Citizens Forum is still open.
Good evening. My name is Nikisha Williams, 1200 Jan Avenue. I want to start off by echoing Ms. Russell and just saying thank you, Commissioner Williams, for bringing this legislation. So I'm here to speak about the RV legislation. I want to start off with what we are doing is not uncommon. There are many states, California, Delaware, Georgia, Kentucky, Massachusetts, New Mexico. Many places are thinking about, and actually they have said that they actually don't even allow RVs. I did a little bit more research. Almost every state regulates parking of RVs in some way. I would have done this research on a municipality basis. As y'all can imagine, it is not easy. But as you know, there are lots of municipalities here in Miami-Dade County that are thinking about this issue and figuring out how we regulate it. So I want to say that given the rise of RVs in our community, we have to do something. And so I heard so many people come up here today and talk about affordable housing. This is a crisis that is happening around the United States, but we are feeling it acutely here in Miami-Dade County. But that is not a reason for us to use RVs as housing. So I want to tell a little story. So I want to go back in history because I'm hoping that we are learning from the past and that history won't repeat itself. So hopefully many people in here are familiar with tenement housing. So tenement housing existed in New York in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. And ultimately, single family homes were turned into and were converted into lots of different homes because there were lots of people coming to the city at that time. You had people coming from all over Europe who were all of a sudden landing in the United States, landing in New York, and they needed housing. And so people turned single family homes into housing. And what happened is that they were poorly lit. They lacked indoor plumbing and ventilation. They were dangerous. They did not have fire escapes. People got sick and died. So we cannot simply decide that we're going to put something in our backyard or we are going to change the structure of a home the way it's supposed to be because we think we're solving a problem or because we're getting money off of it. This needs to be regulated. The county is looking at this issue. I know the city is looking at the issue. RVs are not the way to do it. So with that, I will say we have to find a solution that ensures safe and fair housing for all. RVs are not the way to do it. So I'm come up here and I'm talking about the issue, but I also want to come up here and offer a handful of recommendations. So my first ask of this commission is please don't repeal this ordinance because it's important. Instead, please consider how we can make it better. So one, RVs should be permitted and they should be registered. I am also going to proffer that maybe we allow RVs to be parked on a limited period And maybe we even consider doing it in the front yard, because what we know is happening right now is that many of these RVs are sitting in the back of the yards, and we don't know what is happening because we have tall fences here. And so I offer this as an alternative opinion for you guys to consider. And I'm going to say here, you know, I've heard so many people come up and talk about how, oh, I'm out. 2 seconds. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Citizens Forum is still open.
My name is Rosalind Kelly. I live at 420 Aladdin Street, Opa-locka, Florida, 33054. I'm just trying to figure out a legislation that's just been passed. Why is it on the brink of possibly being repealed? This is a drain on the taxpayers in the community. I don't want to see anybody homeless, you know, but we have to consider how it's affecting us. I think this lady talking about her water bill is a good example. I've heard of people saying that they live in certain areas and they've seen people digging up pipes to reroute the water and the electricity and all these different things. So I think I think this bill, maybe if you have a RV and you're not using it for someone's living quarters, maybe the bill should be amended so they should be allowed to keep their RV. But I don't think it's right for the citizens that are paying taxes to have people living in these places, and our bills are constantly going up because the energy is being siphoned off, and it's unfair to us. I don't want to see anybody homeless, but we have to try to have a meet with a happy union, you know, and consider everybody, but we have to be considered, I think, upmost, because we're the ones being mostly affected with the bills, the electric bills and the water bills. So that's all I have to say. And I hope you make a good decision not to repeal the bill, maybe amended.
My name Margaret Mullen, 851 Jan Avenue. I give her my 3 minutes.
Oh, no, I don't have anything else. I'm good, thank you.
All right, thank you. Citizens Forum is still open. Citizens Forum is still open.
Good evening, everybody. Dr. Retevia Bain Walden, 1860 Service Road, Opa-locka, Florida, 33054. First, I do want to announce my candidacy.
Dr. Walden, this is not the platform for that.
They've done all that tonight.
And I stopped everybody.
I don't think so.
But you announced it last meeting, so.
I am the people for the people. I would just like to say this on tonight. I do an amen for most that have gotten up here with the water bill, with the RVs, with all of this other stuff.
Talk to us, Dr. Walden, please.
I like to address the people too.
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
We have a decorum here, Dr. Walden.
I'm sorry. Anyway, I want to say when we're dealing with RVs, that's not the biggest problem. We have people building on their homes, rerouting pipes for real, stopping other people's meters coming out the back of those privacy fences. Oh, we see them on the cameras. I've called in. Same with the electric. My bill was $9.50. And now it has gone up. Prayerfully, before, we used to come out and say everybody had leaks on their property. Even when I was babysitting my property, and I've had it for almost 40 years. Many don't know me, but I've been here. I've seen some ups and downs, some good and some bad. We won't call names because I don't do that. We need to stop the mess. It is a mess. I've had encroachment for the last year, and now I'm coming out of my pocket to pay an attorney because my neighbors will fight like you know what to make sure that all that illegal stuff on their property, they will keep. I've had Uzis put in my face. My family has been threatened. They've been violated over and over again. Every time the police come out and leave, the neighbors come back out and violate their restraining order. A couple of weeks ago, it was lit in Opa-locka. I'm very educated, book-wise and street-wise.
Thank you, Dr. Walden.
And I do want to say this.
Thank you, Dr. Walden.
We need to stop those fences from being 7 feet high
Yes, ma'am, Dr. Walden.
that we cannot see behind them. My time is up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We need to stop. We need to clean it up.
Thank you. Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to say one other thing.
No, Dr. Walden, we got a long meeting. We got other people behind you. Dr.
I
Walden.
want to put this on public record. People say what they will and may, but be very careful maliciously calling Dr. Retevia Bain Walden's name, my name, because I will sue you for defamation of character. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Walden. Next, Citizens Forum is still open.
Hi, I'm Tina. Please, Opa-locka.
Miss Tina, you gotta state your
Oh.
name and address for the record.
2040 York Street, 33054. Mr. Darvin Williams, I don't know if you salute this foolishness that go on and help this person run for commission Opa-locka. Let me tell you something. I've been Opa-locka a long time. And people need to stop foolishness. You understand? I don't care what y'all do. It's just like the president. Y'all don't make us change. But I do help. Y'all need to help them kids like Joe Kelly used to do what that is, the kids with the red, when my son was in Central Quaker, the Million March or whatever. But when you got corrupt people trying to run for Opa-locka and do wrong and they kids and it's Spanish people, it ain't no such thing as Spanish and black. You understand? You supposed to love everybody. But when you sit and you lie on other people, see, God sits high and he looks low. You use God as a cover up and you want to praise everything. I don't care about suing. You understand me? Because I ain't got a pot to piss in the window, throw it out. You understand me? I'm going to keep every time the devil come up here and speak, I'm coming here. I ain't disrespecting nobody, but I'm going to speak every time. Because when your child get killed, I'm a mother hurting 9 years. When it's you a pastor, you can't come and give your condolences to a family. You understand me? And then you come up here with praise God and whipping your lips. I don't never want to come in your church house because I'm scared the devil might bite me in the back. You understand me? It's a show. It's a circus. It's a circus when it come up here with it. But y'all are good people. But Mr. Williams, Darvin Williams, he's promoting her to run for commissioner. She ain't gonna be in commissioner Opa-locka. Miss Retevia Walden.
Thank you, Miss Tina.
You won't run this time.
Citizens Forum is still, come on. Citizens Forum is still open. Citizens Forum is still open.
Hi, buenas noches. ¿Me puedes ayudar con el inglés un poquito, por favor?
Sí, cómo no.
Hola, mi nombre es Suaima Ruiz, vivo en el 1891 Wilmington Street. Y mi preocupación es acerca de los RV. Yo no tengo RV, pero quisiera que tuviera en consideración sobre lo de la legislación que pasaron acerca de los RV, porque nosotros pagamos taxes también y no es justo que a veces esas personas tengan que quedarse fuera porque no. I'm sorry.
So she's saying that she doesn't have an RV, but that she's asking the commission to take in consideration about the RV ordinance because those that have RVs do pay taxes here in Opa-locka and they are residents of Opa-locka.
Okay.
Yes, that take consideration, some regulation and something.
Some regulation or something to help those that have RVs.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Citizens Forum is still open. All right, Citizens Forum is closed. All right, so I just want to say that we had a lot that came up as it relates to the RV. And I think I can speak for the commission as well as the sponsor of it. The intent of this legislation was not to divide this community in any way, shape, or fashion. That was not the intent of this legislation. And we all know that legislation is blind. We don't do things for one particular people in Opa-locka. We do things, and as everybody know, we have been pushing a beautification initiative in the city of Opa-locka to beautify our city. And there are a lot of ideas that have come before us from our residents, and a lot of those things we put and we enacted in legislation. So I just want to say this was never to divide our community. That was not the intent. However, I know one of my commissioners are going to bring this up, but I was going to pose that we actually extend the moratorium on it
Mr. Mayor.
due to communication issues that was brought up. But go ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you. I'm sitting here and I do have it in my report because I was trying to follow order and structure on the agenda. But since you are taken out of order and everyone is speaking with passion on the issue, I had a lot of residents come to meet me On Monday, I've met a lot of residents in my office on this very issue. And I've tried to say the same thing that you're saying, that the legislation passed, although I wasn't here when it passed, I understood the challenge and the intent of the ordinance. But I also go back, as I always do and have for all of my public service, look at policy and I look at what the legislation says. And I asked this in the workshop. And so since you're bringing it up, I'm going to ask it again because all of these residents, whether you're for it or against it, we've heard some great ideas, suggestions, which I heard in Meet Me Monday and I've heard in my office as well. And that's one of the reasons why I put it under my report. I do think we need to extend the moratorium, but also think I will defer to the sponsor on that part, but I think we do need not to enact it September the 30th. And here's why. Because the legislation itself, and I have it right here in front of me because I never do anything just off the cuff. I do it based on policy and legislation. This legislation was passed by the commission in April. It was approved by the state on April 17th. The legislation calls as part of the whereas and section number 2 on page 3 that there will be a 90-day public information campaign on this item. I asked it in the workshop and I'm still asking it tonight, and I'd like to get an answer because the reality is we had to follow the policy that this commission set in the ordinance. I don't believe we'd be here tonight because you would have heard all the concerns. You'd have had a chance to amend it, address it, because nobody wants to see RVs, people living in them, safety issues, too close to the fence. All those things would have been flushed out in a 90-day campaign. That did not take place. That didn't take place. And I asked the question in the workshop, didn't get an answer. Ms. Manager, you weren't here, but your staff was here. I asked it then because to me, that's part of why the commission, I believe, and although I wasn't here, so I won't speak for the sponsor or my colleagues, you have 90 days so the public can become aware and know what is being proposed. It's not a us versus them. It's not Hispanic versus Black. It's not government against the people. All of us, we are a city of brotherhood and sisterhood. And if one goes down, all of us go down. If one lifted up, we all are lifted up. And so I was very troubled by seeing, this. So I want to ask the question, Mr. Mayor, since you brought it up, and I defer to the sponsor on that, but I think we ought to defer too. But I want to know from staff, why wasn't the 90-day campaign carried out? That's the only question I really want to get addressed. And then I'll defer to you, Mr. Mayor, because I see you want to defer it going in, and I'll listen to my colleagues and the sponsor. But I think because that 90-day did not take place, that's why you have the challenge you have now. As we indicated, we have a communication challenge of getting information out, and we need to do a better job of that. Not only for this ordinance, but for all of the things that are going out and have an impact on any segment of our community. But I'd like to know that, Mr. Mayor, since you brought it up early out of turn, because it is under my report, but I know you want to take it out of order because it is a challenging issue. Why wasn't the 90-day campaign carried out per the legislation that was passed by the commission?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams.
are we bringing this up now? Because you were in the middle of speaking and you got cut off. So I'm just curious, because if we're bringing this up now, is that what we're going to do now?
No, I was actually going to yield because I knew.
That's
we were
what I
bringing it up.
thought. Because, no, but see, talking points were just made. So now it's too late. The audacity. I'm just gonna say the audacity of any board member that's sitting up here to try to take over or sit in a meeting that was not the commission meeting and announce that they're going to repeal. And the way we do stuff here is decent and in order. And that's what we do. And that's what I stand on, is decency and order. And if we're going to sit up in a meeting that we have, okay, everybody's running for office, great. Do you. But what we do is we talk about it as a board, as a commission, and that's what should have been done. And that's decency and an order. Because yes, as the sponsor, because you heard that I am the sponsor. It should have stayed and it should have been brought here tonight before we're going to sit up here and say what you're going to do with my legislation. I have never done that to anybody on this board. I'm upset. It is wrong. Everybody has passed legislation on this board, and nobody has sat in a so-called meeting and decided they're going to have conversations about another commissioner's legislation or what they're going to do. And people are standing up at that meeting talking about, we got our two. That's not right. That's just wrong. And so if we want to do this for 10 votes, great. No problem. But if we're going to do it decent, then do you want to, Mr. Mayor, because you did get cut off? Do you want to wait? Because it is here on the agenda where it says commission report. But to demand questions about my legislation, this is where we have those questions. To demand questions from the manager that I've been in conversations with, you can ask me those questions because I can tell you why, the purpose, and my plan. Do I have a problem changing stuff? I don't. I don't have a problem amending things, but do not think that you're going to sit up here and think you're going to just try me like this. It's wrong. It's just dead wrong. And you think about all y'all legislation, and if anybody did that, you would be upset, just like I am. That's all I have to say.
Thank you all. All right, so what we're gonna do is move on. We're gonna move on to our consent agenda. And we're going to 13-2. That's the first one that was pulled. Madam Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission, excuse me. I think you were doing the public hearing items first, is that
No,
correct? No,
that's coming after consent.
okay. 13.2, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, establishing a lump sum bonus payment policy pursuant to Section 215.425 Florida statutes, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Baz. Mr. Manager, go ahead and present.
Thank you. This is
We're gonna ask that everybody come up. We're in the meeting, please. Go ahead, Mr. Manager, please present.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this is a resolution for an employee bonus that was originally sponsored by Vice Mayor Irvin and brought to the administration in December of 2023. It was passed in the end of February, December 2024, and then approved by the governor's office on April 18th, 2024. I believe those are the correct dates. And we've had some challenges with implementing this lump sum bonus, referring to the evaluation dates. The original evaluation date was in December, ending in December, where I directed all of the city employees to be evaluated by their supervisors and managers, and that happened. However, the legislation didn't pass. We then sought to do a mid-year evaluation, but when the resolution passed, it did not have the dates that matched. And so we then tried to bring it back 3 times, and this is our 4th time to bring it back to the commission for approval with new dates in it. And I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
All right, this item was pulled by Commissioner Kelly. I'll yield to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
The only question I had in terms of the expense to be covered for the amount, it says in the legislation by vacancy savings in each division, and the alternative, you're not sure what the funds will be done in a future budget amendment. Do you have a projection of how much it might be?
Yes, just a second, sir. $41,500 is the maximum expense that this legislation could be.
Okay, so 41,000 is the max?
41,500, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, and this item was pulled by Commissioner Kelly. However, I do have a question, and then we'll go to if nobody else has questions, we can call the question. The attorney, you had questions with the evaluation period. Was that, you all worked that out?
Yes.
The evaluation period was clearly stated in both of the resolutions, so it was nothing to work out. They put the dates in, and those are the dates that are reflected in front of you.
Okay. All right, then we are good. Any other questions or concerns for this? And I do want to say to the sponsor, the original sponsor of this, thank you for looking out for our employees and showing, and I know this is something that you want to do on last year for Christmas,
Right.
but it's finally here. So shout out to the sponsor who sponsored this. We can go ahead and call the question, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bath,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, going on to 13.3.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Sound Thinking, Inc., formerly Shot Spotter, Inc., forensic for the provision of gunshot detection, location, and forensic analysis services utilizing grant funding from the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Justice Programs in an amount not to exceed $99,000 in the form attached hereto as Exhibit A, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly. Second by Commissioner Baz. Commissioner Baz, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the Shot Spotter program is a program that identifies where bullets have been shot in a community. It's a great tool utilized by police departments all over South Florida. For our first year, this is our second year with the program. For our first year, we received a grant that covered the 100% of the expense. with the assistance of Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. There's been some additional addendums that have been tried to be added to the program, which we would like to add those addendums to the program. However, we needed to bring it back in order to get that done, and we weren't able to allow it to be self-renewed. So we're now bringing it back now. I believe the chief of police has negotiated all of those items. I believe they're going to be coming as separate now. And we have the chief of police available to you to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, this item was pulled. Commissioner Kelly, are you?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only question that I had with the renewable, I see it here, is 2 additional one-year periods after after 2025. They only allow 2 for 2 additional, or we just decide that's what we want to do to take a look at it, what's going on after that point?
No, it's gonna renew every year until it continually. So this is a new contract. It's not renewal from last year. This is a completely new contract up to September 30th, and then a new contract begins from October 1 through the following year. After that, it'll be renewed every year thereafter.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions for the police department, chief or the manager? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, Madam Attorney, 1313.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to issue a request for proposals, RFP, for bus benches, shelters, and trash receptacle advertising and maintenance, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Irvin,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Bass. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an item that our Director of Public Works, Mr. Ariel Austin, has been working on for some time. And so when you passed when the commission passed the resolution to do it by RFP, he has worked with our procurement officer to secure that RFP and to get it written and presented before you in the form that you have today. And I have Mr. Ariel Austin, our Public Works Director, available to answer any additional questions you may have about this item.
All right, this item was pulled by Commissioner Kelly.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to be very clear on the bus shelters that are already existing, but that proposed ones that you're going to do for 22nd Avenue, because there are none on 22nd Avenue. Do you have a number yet of how many may be, or you're still working with the contractor on those?
We were going to yield, Aria Austin, Public Works Director. We were going to yield to the contractor to see if there's enough space for the type of shelters he's going to offer. We do not have that information available at this time. We're going to get that information at the closing of the bid to see what type of shelters they're going to proffer and if the setback for those shelters would accommodate the locations that you're speaking of.
Well, is it possible to make sure whether it's the big shelters or little half benches? Because right now on 22nd Avenue, there are no benches, there's no shelters, no anything. So if the setback doesn't allow for the big, shelter, whatever, hopefully it will allow for at least some bus benches. Because right now on 22nd Avenue, you have none from Opa-locka Boulevard going all the way down to 51st. So is that something I hope that we'll be looking at as you discuss when it goes out, come back in as part of your process?
The intent is to set benches or shelters at all stops in the city of Opa-locka.
Okay, well, there's none there, so that's what I'm saying.
Right, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, I just want to say, Ms. Austin, I'm happy that it's finally coming. I proffered this a long time ago, and it took some time, but it's finally here. So thank you for bringing it forward. Madam Clerk, we can go ahead and call the question.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, and we're moving to our second reading ordinances, 16B1.
16B1, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending the annual adopted general proprietary and special revenue funds budgets for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, and ending September 30th, 2024, adjusting revenues and expenditures as reflected in Exhibit A, providing for the expenditure of funds established by the budget, authorizing the city manager to take certain actions, providing for appropriation of all budgets and expenditures, providing for fees consistent with appropriations and amendment, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right. This is also a public hearing item, so can I entertain a motion, then we'll have the manager to explain, and then we'll open up for public hearing. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by, Commissioner Kelly, I'm sorry.
Second.
Jesus Christ, Vice Mayor Irvin, seconded. I am hungry. Mr. Manager, you can go ahead and present the item, then we'll open up for.
I'm trying to, we're trying to make sure we have the right order. This is the 16A1.
Yep, no, 16A, remember we rearranged the agenda. So we're going our second ordinances first,
Got it.
second reading first.
Okay. This is an item coming from our Community Development Department, and we have Mr. Gay, our Community Development Director, available to answer any questions you may have regarding this item.
No, Mr. Manager.
16B1.
16B. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Madam Attorney, you read the wrong one into the record. But you know what? Since we're here, let's do it and then we'll just move on.
Okay, so
stay with okay. Because that's the one she read into the record. So we'll stay here. We're doing the budget.
Oh, the budget. Okay, great.
16A1. We were
Got it.
supposed to be doing 16B1.
Yeah,
But you
I thought
already read
that
it
was
into the record. It
16A1.
was already moved by Commissioner Kelly and seconded by Vice Mayor. So that would be Mr. Anderson and Mr. Dake.
Understood, sir. I'll just give it a brief introduction. So the way our budget system works for all of our residents who are new here, as while we're under state oversight, we do 2 runs first in workshops that are then presented to the governor's office for approval. And then, like all cities, we go through 2 readings and hearings. We have had our budget hearing this week. The governor's office approved our budget without any changes or without any amendments, and we have our Director of Financial Services, Mr. Robert Anathan, available to answer any questions that the commission may have after public hearing.
All right, public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. And for the record, Mr. Manager, I want to correct something. This is not, this is the budget amendment.
My apologies, the
I
amendment. I'm
want to
sorry.
correct that for the record. So let's re-explain that.
Okay, so let me re-explain that. So this is a very important thing for our residents to know. The way our charter is written, that anytime there's most charters allow for inter-fund changes to happen at the department level without being presented to the commission. However, any changes to our budget has to be approved by the commission, even inter-fund changes. So every single time we move some money from this account to that account in order to cover expenses from one to the other, or to beef up expenses in one account, anticipating additional expenses, we have to bring that to the commission for their approval. So this is why we have the number of amendments that we have. This is budget amendment number 5, and we have our Financial Services Director, Mr. Robert Anathan, available to answer questions to our commission after a public hearing.
All right, we're going to reopen public hearing for this item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. All right, do we have any questions for Mr. Anathan or the manager on this budget amendment number 5, first hearing? All right, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
She stepped out.
Oh, my apologies. Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, now we're going into 16B1. Madam Attorney.
16B1, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending the Opa-locka Comprehensive Development Master Plan to incorporate the adopted 2022 10-year water supply facilities work plan update to strengthen the coordination between the water supply planning and local land use planning by amending certain objectives and policies in the infrastructure conservation, intergovernmental coordination, and capital improvements elements as required by and in conformity with Section 163.3177 Florida statutes, providing for transmittal, providing for inclusion in the comprehensive plan and scrivener's errors for providing for conflict and repealer, providing for liberal construction, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. First reading was held on January the 10th, 2024, and this is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, I entertain a motion at this time. Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager, then we open up for public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an item coming from our Community Development Department to improve our water system and our public infrastructure. As you all know, that we've been taking a bite of that elephant every step of the way as we can to improve our public and water infrastructure system, which is a bit antiquated. We're about to come up on our 100-year anniversary. So this is something that we need to keep moving on and keep consistently updating and changing. And after public hearing, we have our Director of Community Development, Mr. Gregory Gay, available to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Okay, public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Do we have any questions for Mr. Gay or the manager on this item? All right, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, thank you. Madam Attorney, 16B2.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, providing for evaluation and appraisal-based amendments to the Opa-locka Comprehensive Development Master Plan as required by and in conformity with Section 163.3191, Florida statutes, providing for inclusion in the comprehensive plan and scrivener's errors, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for liberal construction, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. The first reading and public hearing was held on January the 10th, 2024, and this is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, thank you. I entertain a motion at this moment.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is another item coming from our Community Development Department regarding our comprehensive master plan. Our comprehensive master plan is the plan that the city has of how it's going to grow the city and modernize the city. And this particular portion regards the evaluation and appraisal of that particular portion of the comprehensive plan, which continues to be updated. And we have Mr. Gay, our Director of Community Development, available to answer any questions that the commission may have after public hearing.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Any questions for Mr. Gay or the manager on this item? All right, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, going on to the last ordinance, what we at, 16B3.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, adopting an amendment to the Land Development Regulation Ordinance 15-31, Article 5, Section 22-142, to create a new definition for indoor shooting ranges and permit indoor shooting ranges in the I-3 zoning district as a conditional use and provide general requirements for zoning, location and distance, site plan, licensure, and nuisance, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. The first reading and public hearing was held on July 10th, 2024, and this is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, thank you, Madam Attorney. I entertain any motion at this moment.
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bass. Mr. Manager, go ahead and present it, and we do public hearing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is another item coming from our Community Development Department, but it's also in partnership with our Police Department. This is the last step in a process that the city commits so that the commission could determine if we're going to have an indoor shooting range here in the city of Opa-locka. We have both available, the Director of Community Development, Mr. Gregory Gay, and our Opa-locka Police Department Chief Kenneth Otley, and along with the sponsor is also here to answer any questions the commission may have after a public hearing.
Okay. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. All right, any questions for Mr. Gay or the manager on this item?
Mr. Gay. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams?
Quick question. I know this is paired with the item that we're going to, it just seems like we're putting the cart before the horse. We're gonna change the zone, but we haven't discussed item 4. I'm just saying, like,
Oh.
we're changing.
But what,
If I may,
the problem, what happened is before we can discuss item 4, we will have to pass the ordinance first. So that's why we
I
changed
know.
the agenda.
yeah, so that was probably my mistake, Commissioner Williams. This first portion is to decide, do you want any, or are we gonna allow any of these types of businesses here in the city of Opa-locka? Once that question is answered in the affirmative, then we could move on to the additional. If it's answered in the negative, then there's no need to proceed.
Thank you.
My apologies. Okay.
That's why I was, yeah.
I got
All
it.
right, any questions to Mr. Gay? Now, okay, Mr. Gay, before we call the question, I have one question. The only thing is, if for any reason, and this is just throwing it out there, they wanted to, in the future, do an outdoor shooting range, this wouldn't allow.
No, it will not.
And you're not going to bring it back to allow for, we're just gonna strictly, because the ordinance didn't speak to it, that's why I asked.
As the definitions were prepared, they were speaking specifically for an indoor range at this time. So we will not
Even
be
entertaining,
entertaining an
okay.
outdoor. If we were to do that, we would have to bring that as a separate process.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. All right, so we are good. If not, no other questions, we can go ahead and call the question. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
No.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, now we're going to our planning and zoning items, which are all public hearing items. 15A1. Madam Attorney?
Yes, sir. 15A1, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving final plat review request for the operation of a concrete batching plant and finished concrete production company facility on the property located at 13050 Northwest 30th Avenue and identified by folios 08-21-28-002-0020 08-21 28-002-0030, 08-2128-002-0040, 08-2128-002-0050, 08-2128-002-0060, 08-2128-002-0090, 08-2128-004-0380 and 08-2128-004-0330 in the I-2 zoning district, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Public hearing is, go ahead.
This is a public hearing item and public hearing is open. Hearing none, seeing none, public hearing is closed.
Madam
Go ahead,
Vice Mayor,
sorry.
thank you. As with all of our planning and zoning items, this year items coming from our Community Development Department, and we have our Community Development Director, Mr. Gregory Gay, here for you if you have any questions.
No questions? For the manager, no questions? No?
I know we talked about this during my briefing. Can you revisit this again, if you don't mind, just for transparency purposes?
Yes, Gregory Gay, Director of Planning and Community Development. This is basically to complete the process for this particular property. This is a existing concrete batching operation. They've had a series of issues that related to DERM and zoning and property right-of-way issues. We pretty much have been working with them for the past 2 years. And as a part of that, they needed to replat the process, replat their property to unify the property as one. This is presented to you before as a tentative plat. This is the final step for them to have a final plat in order for the unification of the properties.
And then, Mr. Gay, I know, so we're just gonna add more trucks on this property, correct? Is that what we're doing?
No,
No,
we're not adding trucks.
I'm so
You're
sorry.
unifying the
You're
properties.
unifying the property
Yes,
and it's gonna make it larger.
Is that what I'm understanding?
It's already the same size it's going to be. It's just that instead of having 9 separate properties, it will be one
Okay,
contiguous tract.
got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, any more questions? No? Madam Clerk? Call for the question.
Madam Vice Mayor, I need a motion in a
I'm
second.
so sorry. Can I get a motion? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Who
We're
made the
ready.
motion? I'm sorry. Oh, Commissioner
Commissioner
Kelly,
Kelly.
and second by?
The second by Commissioner Bass.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
all right. Going on to 15A2.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving the final plat review request for the construction, rehabilitation, and operation of a construction equipment rental company at 2950 Northwest 132nd Terrace and 2990 Northwest 132nd Terrace, and identified by folio 08-2128-004-0350 and 08-2128-004-0340 in the I-2 zoning district, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, I entertain any motion at this moment.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager?
Thank you. Again, this is an item coming from our Community Development Department, and we have our Community Development Director, Mr. Gregory Gay, here to answer any questions the commission may have.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. All right, any questions for Mr. Gay or the manager on this item?
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you. Just want to make sure the same thing that I raised in my briefing regarding the landscape and the shrubs and the plants that's supposed to be put around the development as going forward, that we make sure that we follow up and that's done the way it's laid out, proposed in the agreeing to the final plat review. So I just want to make sure of that. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, any other questions to Mr. Gay for this item? All right, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, next item, 15A3.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving the final plat request for the construction and operation of an industrial and commercial mixed-use retail and warehouse distribution facility on the property located at 12691 Northwest 142nd Avenue and 12705 Northwest 42nd Avenue, Opa-locka, Florida, 33054, identified by folios 08-2129-000-0050 and 08-2129-000-0064 in the B3 zoning district, providing for an effective date, and this is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Mr. Manager?
Thank you. Again, now that the commission has agreed to allow indoor shooting ranges in the city of Opa-locka, we actually have an applicant that is before
No,
you.
no. This is the,
This is-
we're on item three.
15-4?
15-3,
Oh, okay.
the warehouse.
All right. This is one of our planning and zoning items coming before the commission for consideration via our community development department. We have our community development director, Gregory Gay, to answer any questions the commission may have after public hearing, if any of the residents have any commentary on this item.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Any questions to Mr. Gay or the manager on this item? All right, Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, moving on to 15A4.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, providing approval of the conditional use request to operate an indoor shooting range for the property located at 13449 Northwest 42nd Avenue and identified by folio 08-2129-00016-0010 in the liberal industrial I3 zoning district and within the corridor mixed-use overlay, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right. At this moment, I entertain any motions. Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager, go ahead and present, and then we'll.
Thank you. Well, since you've already heard my previous presentation, I guess I'll spice this one up a little bit. The commission had tasked us with finding unique and new businesses to come into the city of Opa-locka. This is such a business, as there, if approved by the commission, there would be no other city in South Florida that would have a business such as this. It is an indoor shooting range that partners with our Opa-locka Police Department for training services and other law enforcement agencies that will make Opa-locka truly stand out and be unique. We have Community Development Director Gregory Gay here to answer any questions that you may have. And we also have our Chief of Police to talk about the future partnership, as well as the applicant has prepared a presentation for you.
All right, public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. All right, we have any questions for Mr. Gay or the manager at this moment?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
this item, thank you. This item came up before and I had some concerns. I know the managers mentioned the partnership with the police, et cetera, but one of the challenges I had, even though I supported the conditional use, but now that we're talking about an actual company or entity, I want to know specifically from what would be offered to the city. I heard the police department will have some use, but I think my concern was before with the community having opportunity to use this facility as well. So what has been the update or the change on that discussion?
Through the mayor, I would like to defer. I know that there's been conversations and we do have the applicant here. They can probably provide you with some additional information relating to what type of additional services can be provided to the community.
Commissioner Kelly, what was specifically your question?
I mean,
what was your question specifically?
When this came up before, and I remember it coming because this is conditional use, which means we're opening up the door potentially for not just this entity, but others to come in. And so since they're conditional use, they have to come before us. And there was a presentation made that the police department was going to be able to utilize the range for some training, et cetera. But there was also some discussion about I brought it up, would the community have any possible access to it as well? Or would it just be, I guess, in essence, a private type entity? And I raised those questions the first time about this. So I wanted to know, had anything changed with regard to what would take place with this particular company?
I'll take a stab at that question for you, Commissioner. Our understanding is, and we do have the applicant here, is that this is a business that will be open to the public with a membership fee. So anybody available to pay the membership fee will be a member and can utilize the facility. And if that is incorrect, then I will allow the applicant to quantify that statement if it needs to be quantified.
Is that statement correct, sir?
Can I clarify? Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Eric Greenwald, 5313 Lagos Drive, Miami Beach. I am with part of the applicant, the Armory One, the applicant for the conditional use that you're considering at this time. To answer your question through the mayor, Mr. Commissioner, the answer is that as the city manager stated, there are going to be certain vetting requirements that we're going to have, not just with respect to fees, but also with respect to background checks and things of that sort. This is primarily envisioned as a law enforcement training facility. There will be access to members of the public, but we are specifically partnering not only with the city of Opa-locka, but other law enforcement agencies, both at the local and state level. My partner, Kaj Larson, is here. He is a former special forces member and also a member of a veteran of the Navy SEALs. And he can speak to this as well, but that's the intent behind this. And if you have any further questions, I'm happy to answer them through the mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you. I want to be very clear, because when you do conditional use, you open up a door. And that's why I'm very concerned. I supported the conditional use, and I had questions before challenge on it. So I understand it's primarily want to be used and targeted for law enforcement and training. I get that, but I also want to make sure that if meeting the criteria or vetting, as you call it, the public would be able to have an opportunity of such. And I'm saying that because any ones that come behind you, I'm going to be very concerned at what they're going to allow or offer the public, the community, because it's still in the community. And we have a lot of folks, I'm not one of them per se, but a lot of folks who, want to go to the gun range, et cetera, so forth. So I want to make sure that's available. So as long as there's a process, whatever that may be, then I'm more amenable to that. I thought if it was just closed outright, I'd have a more challenge. And anyone that's coming before us, because now we've done a conditional use, and kind of opened that door in that area, if you will, for the industrial I3 zoning. I anticipate you'll have some more want to come, but I want to be clear going forward that it's not going to be just you come with a private club for a shooting range, even with criteria that the public will be able to have an opportunity if needed. So you answered my question. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, Madam, any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams?
So where I'm challenged is this will open the door, and I'm just gonna keep it real, because this will open the door for more shooting ranges. What's gonna end up happening, what will happen is it'll be one. Now, granted, the first public hearing, the first time we voted on this, the word private was said multiple times. It was stated private. This will be a private club. Now, all of a sudden, I don't know what changed. I guess now it's not private, but now it's a membership, but we have to vet. I still don't know what that means. If this language, that particular language is not in the legislation, then we're going off of what we voted on before. Now we're hearing something different because we heard the word private. It's a private club, which that gave me pause right there. So just like Commissioner Kelly said, it's how are we, the language is changing. And thank you, Mr. Manager. I didn't know that this was a unique, what was the word? I can't, that we were bringing something unique to Opa-locka. But we've seen this in other cities and other municipalities where an entire road, an entire highway becomes shooting ranges. If you own a gun, I don't own one, but I'm sure people do. They go to these shooting ranges in particular neighborhoods. I mean, we know that, right? They exist, right? I'm not gonna say who might go to them, but I would love to go. But anyway, nonetheless, you can't sell me on it's going to be for the police, and you can't sell me on this is going to be for all officers and all. I think that's great. That's awesome. But at the end of the day, what now happens to our city? I always talk about how we plan out our city. It's the planning. So we plan out to bring a shooting range. I'm going to flat out tell you I'm against it. You know I am. But if we plan that out and we sit here as a board, this is what our city will turn into, because we just change legislation, which quite frankly should not have been, both of those items should not have been on the same agenda. I'm sorry, they should not. Mr. Manager, I'm just letting you know, they should not have been, not zoning and this at the same time. But that's neither here nor there, we're here. Once the first time we voted, it was private. Now it's not private. Now it's membership. Now it's this. I don't like that it's not like spelled out what really this is going to be. And then I also don't like the fact that this is going to open the door to multiple and more. So that's where I am. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or concerns to Mr.
Mr.
Gay?
Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
to follow up on what my colleague just said, being conditional use, I guess maybe it's to the attorney, conditional use, even though we would be approving this vendor, this company, conditional use comes back how often? Yearly or 2 years, or, because that's come back, doesn't it?
It just means it's going to be reviewed by you all before you give the final approval for it. But this will continue as long as that use continues at that location, the way that you're voting for it now. It just means that the city can put certain conditions in place that are reasonable conditions, and I'm assuming certain things have been negotiated with the staff, and that's probably what you see in front of you. Perhaps Mr. Gay can state what those conditions are for the record so that you'll know.
Commissioner Kelly, does that answer your question?
Well, that's the point I'm making, because I had the same concern, but if it's going to come back, so it does not change, even though it's conditional use, it would have to come back because they got to maintain certain criteria. So if they're not doing that, and it will come back to us every 2 years or whenever it comes back, then the commission could counsel, well, I don't use the word counsel, could nullify what is taking place.
As it stands right now, there are no timelines as it relates to the item being brought back before the commission for a period of time. It's basically as the conditions that have been presented before you for this particular approval. As long as they go through the process, get the proper licensure and operations, they will be able to continue to operate.
No, I understand that, but with the condition that we're saying is for the law enforcement community and whatever that process is for the general public to be able to utilize. If they're not meeting that criteria, then the commission could come back and close it down. I guess I'm trying to find the right word. I thought that's the way the conditional use.
Well, not so much, Commissioner Kelly. So there might be issues dealing with the parking. Maybe if the city were concerned about we're worried about too many people coming and there's not enough parking. It may be something about no parking on the grass, or no, or it may have something about the signage, or it may have something. Those are the kind of things that normally would be worked out with the staff, and the staff will be bringing the conditions back. So that's why I'm asking, I guess, Mr. Gay to state for the record whatever the conditions are that have been negotiated as this is what staff is recommending.
Well, I was very clear, and what I'm saying or what I'm asking, the condition I'm really referring to is not parking or whatever, although I understand you. It's to make sure that the public has access. That's the question I'm asking. And I understand even from the applicant criteria, meeting certain guidelines, what have you. But what I'm saying is next year, I don't want to hear that all of a sudden someone from the public went over to try to shoot, get it, or whatever the process is, and were turned down just because they're not a law enforcement officer. So I want to make sure that's clear in the documentation, because once it's there, we can't go back. But if it's part of the use now, then that's something we can look at, just like the parking. So I'm trying to be clear that that's in there. I heard it said verbally for the record, but I want to make sure, and I did mention in the briefing that I would pull it because I want to be clear on that. So I don't know where it might be in the wording or whatever. I heard it stated. The manager said it, the applicant stated it, but if that wording could be put in there somewhere, that would be better clarity.
Mr. Mayor. Because Commissioner Kelly still has the floor. Mr. Manager, and then
Yes, we will allow, if we could allow Mr. Gay some time to find up those particular conditions, but it is our understanding that that is in there.
all right, while he does that, Commissioner Bass?
I just wanted to add to my colleagues, I would also like to know what those conditions are.
Okay.
Because if verbiage has changed from the first reading to now, then that's a problem for me. I need to know exactly what I'm going to be voting on. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Gay?
Mr. Mayor, while he's looking for
Vice
that, can I ask a question? I think when it came up with the first reading, I think we said that we wanted
We
the
wanted
community to have access
to it, right,
to it, and I
Right.
thought that that's why this came about.
yeah. 'Cause I specifically asked that question as well. We did, and that's what he
Yes.
explained, that it would be based on a membership.
Correct.
Like a gym membership. It was
Correct.
What it was compared to.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was kind of right, new.
Yeah. So, there's two questions on the floor, Mr. Manager. One from Commissioner Kelly and one from Commissioner Bass. Is that gonna be answered by your staff automation? We need to move.
Yes, I understand we need to move it forward. I believe we have an answer now.
Well, one is, Mr. Gay, Mr. Gay, we want to ensure that if the community is going to be able to utilize it, that they will always be able to utilize it. I think that was Commissioner Kelly's point.
Yeah, right. They have the access, because we don't want, what I don't want to envision is having open up this door for conditional use, and then we got, 8 private shooting clubs that the public has no access to. So, and I understand the criteria primarily for law enforcement, but it has to be, and I made that clear the first time, a public opportunity. So I didn't necessarily see the wording in there, and I know the agenda was long in the briefing. So that's why I want to make sure that wording is in there, as the attorney is saying, it's in there, because we don't get to come back and change it unless the wording is in there in some form.
Okay. Basically, the wording that we have in there now pertains to it, and these are the conditions. It pertains to the zoning and the land use. It pertains to the site plan itself. It does pertain to location and the distance it is from residential areas. It speaks to safety measures. It speaks to environmental consideration, the hours of operation, the security and storage, and there is some references under this particular part under community engagement. It's the facility shall actively engage within the community through educational programs, safety seminars, and outreach initiatives, collaborative with local law enforcement agencies, and it is encouraged and required.
Okay, yeah, so Mr. Gate, yeah, I saw that too. That doesn't speak to the concerns of the commission. We wanted to say that the community will have access to it, no matter how you all, but we want to make sure that if I live in Opa-locka, if I want to pay the membership, I have the ability to do it. So that language is what I'm looking for. And I think Vice Mayor just shook her head. So
Should we say reasonable membership?
it doesn't have, it's just access. We can't tell them how to.
Through the mayor, I wanted to pose a question real quick to Vice Mayor. Are memberships a thing? Is that a thing for shooting range? Okay, no, she's the only one that would know that question. Thank you.
Just because you don't.
I want to be accurate. I want to be accurate here. So she said yes. Okay, I just want to make sure memberships are a thing.
So I do believe that we are in a position right now that if membership and description of the membership needs to be included as a part of this, we can have that through a motion or an amendment to your motion for approval.
I thought, Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner
I
Kelly.
thought that was very clear
Yeah.
from the first, when it came before us, that they need to be a part of it. I don't understand why it wasn't a part of it coming back to us. Because that was very clear that we wanted the public to have access to it. Whatever that process, I thought that staff would have worked out that process and that would have been brought back to us in this setting. You're asking us now to do a motion. I mean, we haven't, I'm not a gun shooter. We only got, I guess, one, according to my colleagues, one up here. So, I mean, I don't want to engage in that because I'm not sure how it works. I just wanted to make sure that the public has access to whatever process. So if you're asking us to come up with a motion or something to put in there, I'm not comfortable myself with pushing that tonight because I don't know. And the only reason I bring it up as an issue because we are now allowing conditional use. And as my colleague said, you could have 6 or 7 other folks come before us want to do a gun range. And if we don't put some parameters tonight, everybody will come in, well, you let them be private, you let them not have to, put the one fence. So we only want one fence. It is unique, it is new, but it also requires that we do a lot of things on the front end of this legislation. So to my colleagues, I don't know, maybe I'll defer to y'all expertise. I just want to make sure the public has access. That's
Okay.
where I'm at.
Mr. Gay, through the manager, Mr. Gay, I supported the item from Jump Street. So I don't mind proffering the motion as long as it says, this community engagement with community access. So I just want to make sure that the community has access to it. So
A whole bunch of loopholes where they can't.
yeah, community access. One second, so is that where? Okay, you said you wanted to clarify something, the sponsor.
Major Kaj Larson, Commander Southern Branch, Florida State Guard Special Mission Unit. I've had the honor of privilege of speaking to the council before. So I think we can clarify a couple things. So as part of the application, and remember, my unit is going to be housed at the facility, is going to have a headquarters at the facility as part of the model for the application. A couple points of clarification. First, this is the first time this application has been heard by the city for the conditional use piece. Previously, we had spoken on the ordinance. Since then, we've been working with staff in order to address the concerns. I think points of clarification on both commissioners' questions is this is a facility that we envision as open to the public. That's firearms enthusiasts, law enforcement, and firearms owners. However, it's important to us that safety is paramount and that membership criteria is subject to security checks and vetting. Barring that, a membership model with proper and appropriate security and background checks is an amendment or modification that we would be amenable to. So absolutely, as part of the community engagement piece, as long as it's couched in the language that we have a vetting process for membership. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let me say this. We thank you.
Yeah.
We thank you. However, there has been times where people have brought things to this commission, said one thing and did another. We just want to make sure, and you all came during the time and you spoke on the ordinance that we proffered, the city proffered, and you gave us ahead of time your intent.
Yep.
Right. So at that meeting, we expressed that we wanted access for the community. So we're not telling you how you do it. We agree, vet them,
Great.
do the background check. However, we just want to make sure that from the onset, that the community has access. And then 2 weeks from now, you're saying, oh, we're not going to do community access. It's only for law enforcement.
Nope.
We want to make sure for the life of the business that our community, the people that live in Opa-locka, has access to that shooting range. Now, how that looks, you can work that out with, as long as it's, fair, we're okay with it. And amenable, and what you said, what was the word you used? It's fair. She said fair. We ain't getting to that. She said affordable. we just want to make sure that is there, which is the reason why we're asking for the language to be in the resolution. So, we're good.
I think as the applicants, we are aligned on that.
Okay.
It's part of our business model to have a membership model. So we want community engagement. We just want to make sure any language that it's not an open door.
But the
that-
challenge
subject
is-
to proper vetting.
The challenge is community engagement and community access, two different things. Because what your community engagement stated that you're going to give
Access.
back to the community.
Community access.
Thank you.
Community engagement's a given. I think we've
Okay,
demonstrated that.
correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, correct.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Gay, Madam Attorney, how do we need to do that? What will be the proper language to ensure?
If Mr. Gay shows me what he was reading from,
He was reading from the cover memo.
I think he really needs to read it into the record where he is inserting this condition, and then that's what you all would vote on. Okay. So what Mr. Gay is saying is that it's already a part of the ordinance, and so by you all voting on it, I don't know where that language is about the public that they have a concern about Mr. Gay, but so he says that's not in the ordinance. That's what I'm talking about. You'd have to add. Hold on one second. If you move your hand. Let's see where we put it. We would add a new letter. Actually, we create a letter L and make effective date letter M. And so, sir, if you want to take a look at this.
Madam Attorney, are you?
What? Right.
Mr. Mayor,
No,
Mr.
I think Mr. Williams trying to get something.
So what
Oh,
we would add
Ma-
then.
Madam Attorney.
Yeah.
Real quick, let me just.
This
if you
this
don't-
is one of the reasons why this really shouldn't be on this agenda.
Bingo. That, I was
Okay,
just gonna
but
say that.
but
I
we
was
will
just gonna
right,
say
but
that.
we will
That part.
what we can do is we can add it. That is from the ordinance, so we can add I will add it in if you all will allow me to add it in if that is the intent. I can add in language that this the facility will remain for the life of the facility as a use. It will remain open to the public, subject to vetting by the applicant. Something like that allows for them to vet and it allows for you all's intent to be met by it being open to the public. So
Okay.
if that's agreeable, I will make sure that's incorporated within the resolution.
Okay, do we need to vote on that motion? Or that?
Yes, sir, that
Okay,
amendment.
so can you go ahead and read something and?
They would be the same language.
The
I just-
same
Hey,
language.
Mr. Mayor, I know
Yes.
you wanna do an amendment. I know you do real quick. Not to belabor the time, but the issue that I have with this is we asked for this before. Like, we're literally, I mean, like, let's stop and think, come on, let's stop. Let's think about this. This was a conversation that our planning and zoning director had with this applicant. Why didn't he go back and do what we asked? We asked this to be put in the language. Now we're sitting up here, we're changing their legislation, we're fixing it, which should have been fixed before. I almost feel like we're just putting these Band-Aids on stuff. Guess what? If it wasn't done right, we vote on it, you voted up, you voted down. That language should have been in there from the beginning. I don't know, what are we doing here? Like, I don't want to vote on anything unless I see it in writing. We can do an amendment. I need to see it in writing because it just keeps happening here.
Well, I'll say, one second, Commissioner Kelly. I'll say this. The only reason why I did not have an issue with the amendment, Commissioner Williams, I see where you're coming from, is because I think we got lost with the words. They put community engagement thinking they understood, are capturing what we wanted. But I think what we're asking for it to be a little, like you said.
You're right, but
fleshed
Mr.
out.
Gay, but Mr.
But I
Gay
think-
should have
it's
known.
the wording. Because the intent, clearly they have it. But that's why I was okay with the amendment.
Mr.
But
Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly,
I was very clear. Not using that word engagement, but that the public had access to it. And usage. I didn't have a problem with the vetting and all that, but I was very clear that the public needed to have access, not engagement, giving back. And then I was also concerned to see it on the same agenda. That barely happens. I get complaints all the time from people that, want to get things on the same agenda and they have to wait because for one or the other. So that was another challenge I had. The more I'm listening now, I'm even more challenged with it. So the question I really have to staff and to the manager, Mr. Mayor, is this of such a time sensitive that you have both of them on the same agenda? That we didn't have time to be able to put the language to be very clear, even though I thought I was clear, maybe I wasn't clear, on the community access, not engagement, but access to be a part.
Yeah.
If this is not time sensitive, and that's why I'm asking, because you have both of them on the same agenda, which rarely happens for things like this.
Commissioner
Normally
Kelly.
you don't have it.
Commissioner Kelly, through the
Madam-
mayor,
Madam
just
Attorney.
really quickly, I have something really important to tell you. The applicant wants to defer it to the next agenda so that we can get the language right and bring it back in a way that you all can see it in front of you. So if that's okay, that would.
Well, that's what I was going to suggest. Otherwise, I was going to have a real challenge with
All right.
supporting it. So that'll
We're
work.
good.
That'll work.
So
Thank you.
this item is deferred to what's the date certain? Next meeting, right? All right, so we're going into
You can state it on the record. Is that the 25th, Madam Clerk?
Yes, that is
Yes,
correct.
so the 25th agenda.
all right, so item 15A4 will be deferred to our September 25th meeting. All right,
15B4.
15B4
Yes,
will
sir.
be deferred to our September 25th meeting.
And if you can take a vote on it, sir, please.
All right, can I get a motion? Move it. Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk?
We're talking about 15A4, right?
Yeah, it's April.
Yes, it's A, because I just heard B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Motion to defer.
All right. All right, we're going into the city manager's report. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to take this time to do something that I've rarely done, and that is address some of the comments that are said during public forum. But I find it important to correct the record. We had a resident come forward and proffer that a man was arrested for attempted murder due to politics and at the direction of the city manager. To be clear, the city manager does not have the authority to direct any police officer to arrest anyone or have the authority to control or manipulate investigations. So I want that to be clear. We had another, I want to discuss an issue that was brought forward by Janie Russell and to apprise the commission once again of where we are with Miami-Dade County and their water bills. We're having a lot of challenges with the current agreement, the billing agreement, as has been stated on the record several times, and we are continuing to press forward with those negotiations, taking it so far up the chain to Jimmy Morales, who is the second in command over at the county regarding this issue. We are making some progress, but one of the challenges is that they're doing, according to the contract, they're doing all of the resolutions and the issues without our permission. They're able to cut people's water off without permission from the city of Opa-locka, negotiate payment plans without approval from the city of Opa-locka, and make evaluations of people's water meters, which we're paying for without the city of Opa-locka. So I want the residents to know we understand, we are aware of this issue, we're apprised of this issue, and we're working very hard and very diligently to get some resolution. And we intend to keep the commission apprised at every meeting as we move forward with these meetings with the county to get this issue arised. And we hope to bring forward a revised and renegotiated billing agreement from the one that was entered into by the city, I believe in 2019. I also wanted to address several residents made the statement that there was not outreach done in the community regarding the RV ban ordinance, as Commissioner Williams stated. That was absolutely not true. It begs the question to me, how did so many residents know about this issue and we have such a large turnout if we had not done the appropriate outreach to them? This was a multi-department outreach that was done first with code compliance that went to nearly every home in the city, wrote down the addresses, identified them, and we provided them with individual invitations to come and learn about this ordinance that the commission had passed, to answer any questions that they may have. I have some additional updates regarding, of course, Glorietta Gardens, and also our financial audits, which I'll provide during the mayor's session. Thank you.
All right, any questions for the manager? Vice Mayor?
I do have any questions, right, that we have for him?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Manager, I would like to know, can you tell me why the police department is giving security to a former elected official who also happened to be running for office?
Have to ask the chief of police to come up and see if he can get some
Mr.
information on
Manager,
that.
through the mayor. Vice Mayor, please explain.
Yes, so the police has been seen at this former commissioner's house almost around the clock at sometimes. I know the manager said he knows what's in my phone, but I have pictures of police just sitting there, just like they're babysitting him, they're watching him, not just one day, like for a while. They're sitting there, he's like being protected, like he's receiving protection from the police department.
Well, I can absolutely tell you that if that is what you have, Vice Mayor, please advise me of it.
Okay.
That is not at my order, at my direction.
Okay.
One, I'd like that former commissioner to be identified to me at some point.
Oh, I'll tell you, Mr. Chris Davis. Well, he asked me to.
Yes,
Well,
Chief, let's not do that here in this forum.
I gave him, he asked me a
Okay,
question, I gave him
yes.
an answer.
Well, I can tell you that
Okay.
at my direction, that did not happen. We have been by the house through our investigative process, but I don't know, quite frankly, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Thank you. So nobody authorized that. I'm glad to hear that because that would be illegal.
Vice Mayor, do you
Yes.
perhaps have a photo of the license plate so we can identify the actual officers that were there?
I have a photo. I'm not sure if the license plates are on there, but
Okay.
I can double check.
Thank you, and we'll get an answer to you ASAP.
Also, this question, the next question, let me see, I can bump around. Okay, so, Mr. Manager, do you realize that you are not authorized to hire a law firm?
I have never hired or engaged anyone for legal services. Yes, I'm aware of that.
May I ask
You're on the floor.
Madam Attorney, does the manager have permission to hire a law firm?
No, ma'am, he does not.
Okay. So there's been a law firm hired to do an investigation on a police officer. And it never came across our desk or up to us up here?
If I may,
Sure.
I think, and I had certainly hoped that I did not realize that you were referring to a police officer. So just in case that question arose, there is something I do want to read on the record in response to that, so that we know how to appropriately proceed, since you are identifying a police officer, discussing
Yeah,
a
I
police.
said a police officer. I wasn't
Yes.
specific with the name.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So Title 10, Chapter 112, Section 532 of the Florida statutes, commonly referred to as the Law Enforcement Officer's Bill of Rights, precludes talking about an open investigation. Please see Section 112, 533, Paragraph 7, which states, any person who is a participant in an internal investigation, including the complainant, this includes the complainant and is especially directed at the complainant, the subject of the investigation and the subject's legal counsel, that includes our attorneys, that includes attorneys hired by the complainant. The investigation, the subject's legal counsel or representative of his or her choice, the investigator conducting the investigation, and any witness in the investigation who willfully discloses any information obtained pursuant to the agency's investigation, including but not limited to the identity of the officer under investigation, the nature of the questions asked, information revealed, or documents furnished in connection with the confidential internal investigation of an agency before such complainant, document, action, or proceeding becomes a public record as provided in this section, commits a misdemeanor of the first degree. So now that that's been read into the record, and I am aware that an email was circulated by an officer that is a center of an investigation, and subsequently also circulated by the director of HR. And this is the pertaining law. And because this is a state statute, it also supersedes any regulations that we as the city may have promulgated. So
If I may interrupt you,
certainly.
I did not receive email from either of the two people you just named.
Well, Vice Mayor, what you stated on the record is that law firm was hired in regard to an investigation.
Yes, I didn't get that from either.
One second.
So
because you stated that and
Yes.
threatened with the.
it was not a
misdemeanor,
threat, sir.
That what you did, Mr. Manager.
I
So I'm gonna
read the
stop, I'm gonna
statute,
stop it
sir.
here, and I'm
Yes.
gonna refer to our attorney.
That's where I was going. That's where I was
And
going.
ask her
And
to
ask her if
opine
she
on
knows
this issue.
anything about.
So we're gonna.
Well, let me say this, through the mayor, what has come to my attention and what the question that the vice mayor asked is whether the manager has the authority to hire a law firm. The city can certainly handle internal investigations. It can do those things. All cities do that have police departments. They have areas and departments that do that, and people who are qualified to work and do those things. But the issue is here, and the question was whether the manager has the authority to hire a law firm. That is the part that is the issue.
Correct.
So allow me to address that issue. And this issue has come up several times before. I have a law degree. However,
You're not a lawyer, and
Okay.
I'm gotta stop.
Come on.
Gotta stop.
I do have a law degree. Is that not a
Hello,
factual statement?
Hello, Mr. Manager
So-
and Madam Attorney.
Okay.
Hold
so-
up, 1 second. Your question.
My question is.
Yes or no? Does the manager have the authority to hire an attorney? Yes or no? We don't.
No,
need to-
he does not.
Okay. Does that answer your
Okay,
question?
that answered my question. So in this case, well, he brought up a case, but there is an law firm that has been hired. And we didn't hire a law firm. I didn't say yes to hiring a law firm. So my question, how did this law firm come into play?
Mr. Manager, has your office engaged and hired a law firm outside of the council that that the commission voted on?
So let's be clear.
Mr. Manager.
I want to answer the question, but I think this is, I think we're confusing the question here. If I hire we have all types of firms that we're engaged in. We have firms that we engage for consulting services. We have firms that we are engaged in for, we had a firm that we engaged in for lobbying services, and that has been made aware to the commission. We've had firms before. In fact, the same firm that she's referring to has previously, just 2 years ago, did the exact same thing, which was totally permissible. Completely permissible. So the notion, if I
Mr.
may.
Manager, could you just answer the question directly?
Yes.
Has your office engaged or hired a law firm outside of the one that the
Outside of our
commission?
procurement policy,
I didn't
no.
say procurement. I said outside of the one that the commission hired.
So if it is under $25,000, it does not come before the commission. That is our procurement policy. So all firms requiring more than $25,000, absolutely, those have come before.
Even legal?
Well, and that's why it's so important. My office have never engaged a firm to do legal services, draft memorandums, provide legal advice, represent the city in any type of litigation. We have not got involved in any of those type of issues. Now, and I've said this on the record before, if we hire a firm to cut the grass, that is not engaging in improper legal services. If we hire a firm to do lobbying services for us, that is not considered legal work, because you do not have to be an attorney to cut the grass. You do not have to be an attorney to do an investigation for a city, and you do not have to be a firm to do lobbying services.
But the question posed, Mr. Manager, was this a law firm? You
Yes.
said yes.
And I said yes.
Okay. And does that, and what was the first question?
Well, I'm
You're
saying
done.
he's not, he's not allowed to hire law firms. That's what we do.
Okay. So
For legal services, absolutely. Absolutely correct.
Mr. Mayor, if I may suggest, if the city would like to have a resolution in place so that this is clear, these issues are clear. It is very difficult for me to do my job if the city is sued, for instance, and it's something that the league doesn't cover, and I don't know anything about it. I don't know what's been happening, how it's happening. I can't even represent my client because he's gone out and just basically rogue, done whatever he's doing. I have no idea, no information. His stuff doesn't go through HR. He doesn't follow any processes. And then when we get sued, and then my firm defends the city and is trying to search for information, only the manager would have it. It's ridiculous. This cannot continue. And so what I'm asking is that for all of us to stay in our lanes and to be able to do our work competently, allow me to bring back for your consideration a resolution that may make clear the procedures and what normally happens, and what happens in cases where something would come up. It would be, if it's an internal investigation, it's within the police department, we may not know about it.
Exactly.
If it is an issue that, but depending on the investigation, there are certain kind of ordinances that are already in place that have to come through us because we have to give the reports for it, and some of them require citizen review. So, but because the manager does not share information, it makes it difficult for us to know what is going on and how to protect it, how to best protect the city. And so if we were to have in place, because what I was trying to say was that if special counsel is involved, or if there are issues where we feel that we have a conflict or something like that, generally speaking, we would have certain authority to, engage, bring it back to you. It may not be as specific as it's about this issue and about, I would just say to conduct an investigation, but the issue is it would come through us somehow. We would know about it. This is so unusual.
Madam Attorney, you, just like the commission, just like the manager, just like the clerk, has the ability to bring back legislation. When you bring said legislation that you're referring to, at that moment, the commission will entertain it with questions and conversation. We're gonna stop this. Okay. You have other questions?
I have another question.
Okay.
Yes. I was told by the manager that I wanted to know what constitutes a criminal investigation. And it was any employee that may have believed to have stolen $700 or more. And that's why one of our park people had to go under a criminal investigation. Okay, and I'm bringing up this scenario because We've been paying Mr. Williams $850 per month for a car allowance. Since signing his contract, Mr. Williams has been driving cars rented by the police department, as well as being a passenger in city vehicles, all of which is not allowed. Mr. Williams has also had city employees serve as his personal chauffeur by picking him up from house, wherever. And this to me is abuse of power, and I believe it to be illegal, and it should be under criminal investigation since it's over $4,000.
So are you calling for?
And I want
investigation,
to
Bob?
know, yes, I want to know who handles when we want something investigated, who handles it, our city attorney or our HR director?
Okay, so I'm gonna ask Madam Attorney to opine on that.
You all can, as you know, as you've done before, you can call for an investigation. That's in your charter. We would recuse ourselves from that. And in that case, we might recommend someone for you to investigate the city manager if that's what you were doing. It may be that you require or you ask if it's an employee related situation, HR to conduct the investigation, but we would not be, or I would not feel comfortable depending on if it was the manager, because he's an equal. He's not someone within, the ranks of leadership. So I would recommend a competent employment attorney that is outside, which is typical. It's not something, I'm not saying something to you all. I've done investigations for other cities, and it comes through the legal department, by the way. It's never a city manager calling or just going out doing whatever. It comes through the legal department, like an attorney would call me and say, hey, this is a situation I have. I've done many of those for many cities, many different municipalities throughout the Tri-County area. So that's how it will be handled.
Okay, so not HR.
It could be HR.
It could be HR.
But you may want it to be someone outside, but the city commission, if that's the will of the city commission, you can require an investigation to be done by HR if you so choose. And a report back. You have your HR here is
An outside contract.
it's an outside contract. So my recommendation would be either way that you allow me to maybe bring back maybe 3 names that you can choose from or something if you decided to go in that direction.
Okay, because I ask these questions because we can't be terminating employees for doing some of the same thing that our higher ups are doing, but nothing happens to them. You have to move in a way that our rules and regulations are for everybody, from the man that pick up trash to the man that write the bills to have the trash picked up. It has to be an even flow, not I'm gonna do what I want to do and can't nobody touch me and that kind of thing. That's not right. We as the commission, at some point, we have to put our feet down. We all know that when the manager is in the hot seat, he pay overtime for the seniors to come in the city's bus to defend him. That also is not legal. You can't do that either. It can't be done. And I know you're saying I can do it anyway. I know, but it can't be done.
Madam Manager, she still has the floor.
It can't be done. You're using city stuff to protect you. You can't do that. They can get here on their own if they want to defend you, because now the residents are paying for that, and that's not fair. It's not fair. So I think that we have to do something to make sure that all of our employees are in the same alignment, not one doing what they want to do, but other people get fired for the exact same thing. And the other thing that I want, because everybody knows I'm out in the community, and if the manager is honest, he'll tell you. I call him sometime and tell him what's going on in the city, and he don't even know because I'm out here, and I want to be very, very specific with what I'm saying right now. These people that are campaigning, let them campaign. There is no room for our city manager to be out trying to campaign for people behind the scene. Please just do your job that we paying you to do, and let's move from there. That's all I'm saying. I'm done. Thank you.
Mr.
All
Mayor.
right, any other concerns or questions for the manager? All right,
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Manager, before you, I have one question for you.
To the manager, because this came up part of the budget. I'm sorry, what happened? What happened?
Let me go ahead, Commissioner. I said I got one question. You said.
What happened?
You ain't coming.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, I just got one question.
I apologize, I didn't hear you. I'm not young as I used to be. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No,
Go right
you good,
ahead,
you good,
sir.
you good.
Go right ahead.
I figured as much. No, mine's are simple. Mine's are simple. I just want to know the status update for the senior bus that we purchased. That was it.
The status, the senior buses are deployed. It's being used. It's in use. As of
The new one?
Yes.
I got called that it wasn't made. Okay.
No, as of day before yesterday.
And I heard about the issues as well.
One of the doors is not functioning electronically. We're still open. We're opening it and closing it manually.
We have a lease for that bus, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna take it back.
Yes. Well, the seniors won't let us take it back. They
No.
told us to-
Let's.
Okay, so I'll tell the seniors that we're going to take
We need to.
but we do believe
If
that
we're paying for something, it should work properly.
Okay.
So, all right. So there's that. All right, and go ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
It ain't working right? I mean,
Well, I didn't know that part.
One of the doors has a glitch. Yes. One of the doors has a
it's under
glitch.
warranty, I would assume.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So they can use it, we just gotta do it manually
Yes,
or whatever.
open it. and
'Cause I
shut it.
did see it today, over at Siegel, and I blew at them. I didn't even know it was in service. Okay, so, I mean, we already contacted, put that in place to get it fixed, or what are we doing?
Yes.
But until this, okay.
Yes.
The question I had, and I maybe for the sake of time you didn't, but the relocation of the mayor and commission officers, because that ties into a budget, to
Yes.
the budget challenges. And I know a lot, it's been a long night so far, but I know that's a mayor and commission eventual decision, but I know it's under your report because you said you was gonna
Yes.
put it there. So is there any new update or information or financial
Yes.
whatever related to it?
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention, Commissioner Kelly. We absolutely do need to have that discussion as we've been postponing it. We actually just need direction from the commission. We do have at least two potential businesses that would like to rent space here on the third floor. We have postponed having those conversations with them, waiting to get direction from the commission if they were going to move down to the third floor or remain on the fourth floor. So that's where we're at.
Okay, and
Go ahead.
and I know when I brought up, because I know it's kind of discussion that started before I even got back in office, as we was, my biggest concern, I mentioned it to you and the staff, we're subsidizing the cost of the building because we don't have tenants. And so every year we're spending, I don't know, I think this year we're spending $300,000 or $400,000 or something subsidizing because we don't have tenants, et cetera. And I know one of the challenges to dealing with that was for the commission to make a decision. So I guess to my colleagues, because we're really talking about the 24-25 budget, and I'm assuming you want to be able to capture that in there somewhere if that's the will of the commission to move. If we don't move, then you just can, lease the third floor.
Yes.
But if we do move, then that's a retrofit. And would those folks move to the fourth floor, or they couldn't move to the fourth?
We would offer that to them, and I think it may work for one of them. It may work for one of them.
Well, I guess to my colleagues, that's a decision we need to make either way, because until we do, we can't make a decision. And I'm just concerned about every year subsidizing the building. But if we're going to move, that needs to be made, let the manager know. If not, so they can hopefully rent the third floor to get income, so we don't keep subsidizing the cost. But as I said before, I want to defer to my colleagues. I know it's a discussion that has started before.
Well, Commissioner Kelly, I'll say two questions. Mr. Manager, is it needed? Do you all need space for the fourth floor for staff?
For staff, no, sir. Not at
Okay.
this time.
Then I think we should just go ahead and stay. That's just my opinion.
Say it again.
Let's just stay where we are, because if you're gonna, it doesn't make sense for me to put tenants on the fourth floor as also tenants on our government is on the fourth floor. So if we streamline our government and our chambers, we can lock this up and then they can use the outskirts of it. But to mix and mingle, I don't agree with that.
Understood.
Well, I
That's
don't
just
know.
my opinion.
I don't know. It was discussion about
Yeah.
the commission wanted to move to the third floor. So I just wanted to bring it up because we're in the budget process. So we got to change and move. That's a retrofit. That's a cost. I don't have a problem either way it go, but I know it's been talked about looking at some previous minutes. So I wanted to hear from my colleagues. So I hear you. I want to hear everybody else.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
thank you. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I think what troubles me is having that section of the floor so close to all of our other government offices. Unless it's too sensitive. Everything is sensitive up there. And plus, yeah, that part. So I'm in agreement to just stay where we are.
All right. The only thing I'm going to ask, Mr. Manager, if you are going to retrofit the outer parts of the chamber, the third floor, that you need to secure this portion of it.
Yes, sir.
So, all right,
Absolutely.
that's my only request because it bleeds off into the other room and and I know we use that room for. I will say this: I don't want to give that section. What the conference room is, where you have the but this whole area, our chambers should be for us, and then you can do the outskirts. That's just my opinion.
Understood, sir.
I don't know about anybody else.
I have something for the manager.
Oh, okay. No, Commissioner Kelly, are you done with your?
Well, yes, for the manager's report, the gateway entrance. Are we doing sprinkler work or were we doing something at the gateway entrance because it's look like it's all torn up, like they're working on it something. Are we putting in new drainage or something? 'Cause it really looks bad for the gateway entrance.
Isn't that FDOT?
Let me get our capital improvement projects manager. I'm not, because I do understand the project that he's talking about. I don't have the specifics on it. So I'm going to ask Adelina Gross, our capital improvement project manager, to come and address that question of Commissioner Kelly's.
I really like your hair. I just wanted to say.
We all like your hair.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Adelina Gross, CIP Manager. And the project that you're referring to is the one of 27th Avenue. And that's a DOT project that they will install a crosswalk along to connect both the sidewalk.
No, what I'm talking about is what a gateway sign is.
Yes.
But it's it's been that way for a while.
It's falling apart.
So why is it all torn up? I'm not talking about the sidewalks. I'm talking about inside
Inside the
But
gateway,
why
yes.
is it all tore up?
And that was interfering with the DOT project, and actually that was part of DOT road at the moment it was constructed.
So why have we requested them to at least make it look better? Because we got a big gateway sign saying, we're gonna Opa-locka, it just, the whole area just looks.
They
terrible.
will once the project is more advanced. But that's part of the project.
And we knew they were gonna leave it torn up like that?
I will have to defer that to Mr. Austin because that has been in the works for a few years now. I think they actually came to the City Commission last year to make a presentation regarding this project.
No, what I remember presentation was on 135th and the other part going around the curve. I'm talking about the gateway. Even if they're doing work, it just looks bad. I mean, it looks really bad to say, welcome to Opa-locka, here's our events, but the gateway in the area looks terrible.
We'll contact the project manager for that project tomorrow, so express the concerns of our city.
Yeah, please express concerns. I can't see them leaving any other city, especially the gateway entrance into our city in that kind of condition. That's not acceptable. We need to whoever the project manager, whoever, I see Mr. Dawson behind you, but Mr. Manager, that just looks terrible. So whatever we can do, as they're moving forward and they're not working on that part, because I don't really see them doing that in there, but it's all just torn apart. The other thing is, and I guess while you're up there, can see CIP over at Siegel, where they're doing the work. I guess part of the new walking and tearing the concrete. And I did mention it a while back about roping off, but I noticed, I guess, with their equipment, they're tearing into the grass, I guess, to get across to the other side where they're laying or cutting it out.
Yes.
I would hope that they're going to replace our grass.
It's going to be restored once the project is finished.
But at their cost.
Yes.
Yeah, because it looks really challenging. And the other thing along the same lines, Mr. Manager, you mentioned about MOU, because I talked all about that way back with the county for the services. And of course, the water was one, and some of the others to be able to allow us obviously to do our own dump collection back at our place, et cetera. Now, you said you're making progress. Now, y'all been at this for a minute. I'm of the opinion, I'm just speaking for me now. Maybe the commission needs to get involved at some point here, because y'all been negotiating, or you've been trying to negotiate for a while with staff. And these water issues keep coming up, because they come up and meet me Monday as well. And we're tired. We can't do anything. We don't have any leverage. So I know you said you got a meeting scheduled with Mr. Morales, who's kind of higher up. I would suggest after that meeting, you let us know what happens, because I think at some point we got to get involved, because too many of our citizens are impacted by $1,600 water bill, you know, 500 water. It just make any sense. And then you got to pay it or your water's off. So I don't know when you had that meeting scheduled, but hopefully as soon as you do, you come back, send us an email. We think we made progress. If not, then the mayor, I would suggest, along with us, got to go down and get on the agenda, because it's having an impact on our residents. And the last thing under your report, we've had a rash of shootings in our city. And I know police can't be everywhere, but I want us to hopefully, or you can give it to us in writing, or that she can briefly mention it. No specifics of what you're doing, all that stuff, but to give a sense of calmness that, you know, the shooting we're having throughout the city. I know some have been in complex or whatever. I don't know if they have the off-duty police or whatever, the one that we just had recently, but to just kind of reassure of these shootings we've had. And we're not the only city having, so I don't want to seem like we are, because as Reverend Dunn mentioned, Miami Gardens just had one the other day. But are we doing, or what are we doing, not specifics of what you may be in, but to do whatever you can to kind of address these shootings, because it seems to be every other, you know, and unfortunately ours get highlighted more than other places.
Mr. Manager. So as you know, in the flash traffic, we've had several shot spotter calls. Just the other day, we responded. We retrieved our casings. We identified one of the subjects, and he is currently in custody. Priority response team from Miami-Dade County, MACTAF, multi-agency gang task force, is in throughout Opa-locka weekly. Every morning at 9 a.m., we have a community shield call with all the agencies within Miami-Dade and Broward County. They are through here. We report on each other's significant crimes that occur in our city, as well as the most recently, we arrested right up the block 2 guys with 50 stolen vehicles. And I know you're talking about shootings, but everything intertwines, everything commingles. So to your question, Vice Mayor, if we're providing security, how many detectives do we have? We have a sergeant and 6, and they are working around the clock. We don't have time to place security for anybody. Those officers don't, those detectives don't work off-duty jobs.
Do me a favor. What Commissioner Kelly asked you to do is to bring ease to our residents. That,
Yeah,
please. That we so we want you to provide hope as our chief to letting our residents know that they can sleep well tonight, knowing that they will be safe.
Thank you,
Please do
Mr.
that.
Mayor. Thank you for realigning me. Residents of Opa-locka, you can sleep safe. Our officers out on the street, our detectives are working around the clock to ensure the safety in all aspects of their investigations. And the officers, as you see them patrolling the streets, their lights are on. As I quoted a year ago, they're conducting traffic stops and fulfilling all the aspects of law enforcement in Opa-locka. So you can sleep safely within the city of Opa-locka. Opa-locka Police Department has a watch.
And the thank you for that. And the apartment complex, I know they're required by our law to have, and all of those are in compliance. I mean, all of the ones that fit the criteria, they're in compliance with having either security or whatever. I know some of them you have to have so many units, but all of them are where they're supposed to be with those.
That is correct, Commissioner. Matter of fact, we just signed new contracts today for Laredo Gardens and another community complex. And tomorrow we expect to complete the rest for renewal contracts for the off-duty jobs.
Okay, I just want to be clear and, all right, okay, and as a part of that, I know a while back, we talked about, Crime Watch, and I know they were doing some work with the community policing in some of the apartment complexes, but I think we need to extend that over into communities and commercial districts as well. I mean, I know staffing could be an issue, but every little bit helps in terms of communication.
Yes, Commissioner.
All right, thank you. That's all I have for the manager report. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
All right, and Commissioner Williams had questions for the manager as well.
Okay, through the mayor, Mr. Manager, just to piggyback a little bit on the water bills. What's the plan of, I heard all the stuff we're gonna engage, but the issue is the water bills are due now, like they're now. Are we telling our residents to go ahead and pay $1,600 or in my case, $1,400? And maybe, yes, commissioners get hit too. Because that's what my bill is. Are we saying that to go ahead and pay it? Because I'm gonna tell you, now I just received one today that says if you don't pay it, your water gets shut off. So are we saying to pay it until we figure this out and then we'll,
No,
and when the problem gets solved, then do we get reimbursed? What does that look like? They county don't, I get a credit. Oh, okay. But I mean, like, this is not good. This is horrible. Like, I'm being yelled at by my own mom. Dead serious. And the thing about what bothers me is, and I'm going to connect it, because even when we were going through issues with water, I was never affected. I can't ever say that I was one of those residents that had those issues. I'm lucky. But somehow this got to be tied into something. Pipes, RVs. This got to be tied into something. I don't know what this is, but we're getting hit. I mean, I am talking to residents. I'm sorry, let me go back. I am talking to homeowners. And those homeowners are saying their electricity bills are going up too. I don't know about my bill skyrocketed. And the same amount of people, same usage. As a matter of fact, it's less because everybody's at work or school. So it's confusing to me. We got to figure out how we're going to fix this. Now, I'm not going to get my soapbox, but $1,400 got to be paid. Or, then, so I need to, I mean, quick, we need answers. Like something's got to be done. And Miss Russell, $1,600. And it just keeps going. We keep hearing it. It's happening. And we're going to have a line of people in a minute. It's going to happen. A line of people are going to be here, homeowners saying that their water bill, not the people that are letting people stay on their property. And where are we with the parks playground? The playground, where are we with that?
Yes, we have identified a contract and set up that we're doing as a piggyback contract, and we should be bringing that back to the commission in the first meeting of October.
Okay, because I want to see it get done. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other questions for the managers under his report before we move on? All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Manager?
Thank you. So I wanted to address a couple concerns and correct the record. As we all saw, the seniors on the move, seniors were here tonight. And I, to my understanding, was not on the hot seat. It has been about a year now that we, the city, discuss the programs with the seniors on the move, and they decide if they would like to come. And as we know, we have 2,500 seniors here in the city of Opa-locka, and a very small percentage of them have cars, have their own vehicles. Those are persons over the age of 65. So currently we have approximately 50 seniors that are registered for our program, and the only ones that come are the ones that we're able to provide transportation for, the majority of which. So that's a service that the city of Opa-locka has been providing to the seniors, independent of myself. And as regard to campaigning, I have also heard the rumors that I've been out there campaigning for, a new one. I heard a new one tonight, but there was one that I heard regarding a former commissioner. However, I have not endorsed, supported, financially given money to any candidate that is currently running for the city commission for the city of Opa-locka. However, as a private citizen, I have the right off my own time, as I have on my own time, if I want to support any campaign. As we've had charter members that have provided financial donations to campaigns, I have not. I have never done that, so forth and so on. So I wanted to, clear that up and speak on that. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you for the clarification. All right, we're gonna move on to official board reports. All right, we're going to a future agenda items. Do we have any future agenda items?
I would,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I would like to proffer, I call it a line of credit. The manager has that 25,000 line of credit that he doesn't have to come to us to get approval for. I want to proffer that we drop that to 10,000 so that we will know what is truly going on in our city at all times.
Okay, Madam Attorney, that the manager's discretion for the
It is an ordinance, Mr. Mayor, and if you all choose to do that, it would just require a second for it to go on the next agenda for your consideration at an upcoming meeting.
All right. All right, so the future agenda item was proffered by Vice Mayor Irvin. Can I get any second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner, to reduce the manager's, to $10,000.
We all took a hit, so.
25.
Mhm.
Okay, so it was moved by Vice Mayor Irvin, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Madam Clerk,
Commissioner Bass,
to reduce the manager's discretionary fund from $25,000 to 10,000.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
This is for future agenda items, so we can vote on it later. So I'll say yes, so I can hear it.
Mayor Taylor.
Same, I wanna hear you out too, so yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, any other future agenda items?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams?
I have two. I would like to bring a future agenda item to review and revamp the bylaws of all boards and how members are chosen and how they remain on the board, as well as the language of the bylaws.
Okay,
And
so
Okay.
let's vote on that one. Then we go.
did I say it right? Bylaws? Maybe I didn't say it right.
Through the mayor, it would be just the ordinances dealing with the specific committees because they're not bylaws, but they're
I
right.
figured I was
But the
wrong.
ordinances,
Correct.
and this would be for all of the
All, yes.
boards. So
To
you
have one standard.
So you realize you would be bringing like 12 or 14 boards back individually with ordinances, changing all of them, and you'd have to notice them and in order to do that.
So I think I'm talking about the language of the bylaws. Can it all, no, you're saying no?
Because
Yes,
they're
no.
all, they may be all different.
The governing, how they're governed.
There's
same
no,
thing.
there's no bylaws.
Okay.
There's resolutions or ordinances. Maybe some of them were done by resolution and it wouldn't require a second reading. We could just bring it back, but we'd have to go through each of the items to determine. And then if you could give some guidance, unless it's just a discussion item, because it's going to be a lot of work. So if you could give some guidance in terms of you want it to be, a certain term or a certain time or.
Madam Attorney, then let's simplify it. So can we, as a board, authorize Commissioner Williams to work with you to look at all boards and bring back language if to vote, will that?
Yes,
was
and
the-
actually,
okay.
and I would, I'm
And-
gonna,
well,
I'm gonna ask the clerk to, I'm gonna ask the clerk to join me.
That's fine. That's why I said you did, because it's just her, if she does, those are
Okay.
the boards.
Sure.
So, yourself and is that a?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
That way, because she can
Right, so we
explain it
can
better.
figure out what
Yeah,
you're.
because
Yeah,
you going back
correct.
and forth right now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so can I get you moved it, can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Bass. All right, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right.
Okay.
We had another one.
Yes. Want to, future agenda item to bring back the RV legislation as a future agenda item to rework it or however we're gonna do.
Is there something
I-
in particular, or did you all want to workshop it through the mayor?
Y'all wanna
No,
work-
I
No,
would rather you bring it back.
I
and maybe
want
discuss it
to
next time.
work through it the way, maybe provide some amendments through my own legislation and then bring it back. Does that make sense, Madam Attorney?
So the vote would be to allow Commissioner Williams to work directly with me to revamp
Amend the RV
amend the
ordinance.
RV resolution or ordinance to come back for you all's consideration.
Directly with you or you and the manager?
You can work with the manager and I'll just review it.
No,
for
I would like
you.
to work with both of you
Okay.
because I do want to add some legal stuff in it
Sure.
as well. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
To the mayor, just
Uh.
quickly,
Talking to Mike, I can't.
I was just wondering if it would be okay that your colleagues also interject, being with email forms, what we would like to.
That would have to be a
We
workshop.
can't
No,
do
it's
that.
got to be
Out of the
work.
sunshine.
All right.
So once,
I'm sorry, not to us, to the attorney or Ms. Flores, not.
I'm not
between
willing to
us.
do that. I'll do
Okay.
it. I'll say my opinion when we bring it forth. The only thing I have a concern with, Commissioner Kelly, one second. Being that you are proffering to amend it, it goes live and into effect at the end of the month. So would we have to make a motion to put a moratorium on?
No, you would have to change the ordinance because
No,
that's a
no.
part of the
You're
ordinance.
missing what I'm saying. It goes live into effect. She's going to amend it. She's making a motion to amend the ordinance. So what stands today goes live at the end of the month. So in the interim of that ordinance coming back, we need to do something now because it won't be back before it goes live into effect. So can we make a motion?
No, sir. Let me explain. The 90 days that's in the ordinance, it's a part of the ordinance. So if you wanted to do anything with that ordinance, you'd have to amend that ordinance and it requires the 2 readings, as you know. So right now, it goes into effect as it's stated because it's already been passed. It had a time, period in it. And the only thing that you can do right now is amend that ordinance. Now, if you wanted to have a special meeting or something like that and have the first reading, let's say sometime within the special meeting and then, after publication, then have the second reading and do it sooner than your next meeting, you all have the option to do that. But without anything more done, you can't just, amend anything right now because
Okay,
it was
no, I'm not
already.
asking to amend. I'm saying, can we make a motion?
No, you
To
can't.
direct the city manager to not take any action on anyone who
No,
has
you
an
can't.
RV. Why not?
No,
Madam
sir,
Attorney?
because it's already a part, it's an ordinance, it's your law.
Okay, so
If you don't mind if
I'm sorry, to manager. Can he just use his discretion?
Yes.
And then we would.
No,
just-
he can't. He can't.
I'm just
I-
asking.
Yeah, right.
We've
No,
done
I
that
just
with
want to be
the-
clear that
Okay.
it's a law. It's the city's law that you passed. And the only way to change that law is to do it through the process. So it's not something he has discretion on. It's not something the commission can make a motion or vote on right now. It is your law.
okay,
right?
so then what I'm going to proffer, Madam Attorney, to add to her ordinance amendment that it comes back at the next meeting,
Okay.
which is the 25th.
Not-
Is that enough
no,
time?
I just wanted to hear from the manager, if you don't mind.
Okay,
Well, this commission, this very commission sitting here has provided authority to withhold enforcement action on the encroachment.
that's what I thought.
So it's not like this commission hasn't already directed that. So I'm confused.
I'm confused too.
Yeah.
So if
But-
you all allow us to look at it, and if you want this to come back and you're directing it to be back on the next agenda, and you're saying that you would like for Commissioner Williams to be able to work with us, let's do that because that's something that we can talk through and.
Okay, so the future agenda item is for Commissioner Williams to work with staff and the manager and the attorney to amend her ordinance for the RV, correct?
Yes.
All right, so it was moved by Commissioner Williams. Can I get a second? Second by, Vice Mayor, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Any other future agenda items? All right, so I have one future agenda item.
I did have.
And my future agenda item is simply put to get rid of future agenda items. Because even with tonight, it messes things up. So that's my future agenda item oh wow. To repeal future agenda items. So that's where I'm at with that. Okay, it was moved by Mayor Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Williams,
No.
Commissioner Bass,
No.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
All right, and Vice Mayor, you had a.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor. This ACM and I just totally missed what you voted on. Could you state for us for our notes?
To repeal future agenda items.
Okay. And it passed.
Mm-hmm. All right, Vice Mayor.
You recently kind of sent my brainwaves moving when we were doing the budget process and you asked. So somewhere there's a statement that has 12 million or whatever on it that you asked the manager. And I wanted to do a future agenda item saying that we get an opportunity to look at these bank statements too, so that we will know ourselves, like what kind of money we have in the bank. And
We have a resolution in place that we're supposed to get monthly financial reports, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Those have never included bank statements, but we can include that.
That's
in
what
there.
you're asking
Yeah,
for?
She
Or
wants
you-
bank statements.
You want bank statements?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I
we'll
want
be
see
happy to
proof that
provide
the
those.
money's there.
We'll be happy to provide those.
That's my future agenda item.
But yeah, y'all gotta work that out. The
Okay.
wording, and I don't know what that, so you
Okay.
literally want to see the bank statement.
Yeah, it don't
All
have to be, yeah.
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure the language.
Okay.
All right, it was moved by Vice Mayor. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams and Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass,
Okay, she wants to be able to, well, government is transparent.
Yes.
So that she wants to be able to see the bank statement.
That's
so-
fine.
All right. Bass say yes.
okay, Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly.
I want to be very clear. I'm trying to understand the timeline. Because as you mentioned, the RV ordinance goes into effect. And even though we all know we don't want to see it go into effect, in essence, it's already law according to the attorney. I want to know, is it possible for a future agenda item, as was indicated, to possibly move up the readings so that we can have a special meeting? But you have Commissioner Williams wants to revamp it. I'm trying to, is there a way and to get to a point where September 30th does not have folks being impacted? Because as you said, we can't change the law. And so even if we come back on the 25th for a first reading, if I heard you correctly, second reading is not going to take place till after a special meeting. Now, could that special meeting happen on September 28th, 29th? That's what I'm getting at, so that the law would not have an impact, assuming the amendments that will be coming forward and addressing the concerns that Commissioner is going to proffer. That's what I'm trying to ask. So, would that require a future agenda item on the agenda?
Well, what you could do is you could have the first reading sooner, and then you could have the second reading 10 days later, right? Once the notice is done, the clerk would better be able to tell you how they take the notice at the newspaper. But you could have the first reading. We could work with Commissioner Williams very quickly, and within like early next week, I guess.
Well, that's why I'm asking, because she's got to work on it. I know her schedule is busy. I'm trying to hopefully get us before that September 30th deadline where the law takes effect.
Right. I think the next meeting is the 25th. So if you meet on the 25th, there's no way you'd be able to have that second reading, legally. But like I said, you could have the first reading earlier, which would allow you to still, we're not even halfway through the month yet, so.
Well, I guess to Commissioner Williams. Mr. Mayor, to my colleague, because your legislation, so as I said earlier, even in the early comments to defer you, but I don't want that September 30th deadline if possible. I'm just asking, does it need to be a future agenda item? Not, it's just a special meeting that can be called at the first reading if she has the items together. Is that what you're saying?
The other option you could have is if what the mayor suggested, and I think you suggested too, Commissioner Kelly, is moving that period, that notice period back. You could just have ordinances, have time, that would give us time, more time to work on whatever other changes you may want to make. But you could just have an ordinance just that would extend that time, let's say 90 days or something like that. You could have a first reading next week and then have the second reading, and then within the month before the 30th, extending it. And then now you changed your law, right? So you'd have a longer period of time. You can make it 6 months, whatever you all wanted to do as a commission. And then that will give us time to do other things that you might want to do with the legislation, whether it's, I think it already has a registration period in it, but whatever it is that you may be thinking, Commissioner Williams, that would give us time if you just extend the notice period.
So let me just recap. Let me go back because a lot was happening. We're saying to just do an ordinance to extend the time frame. And of course, that would need two readings. We would still need a special commission meeting
You
for that.
you would need a special commission meeting because you'd have to start the
Correct,
process right
yes.
before the end of the month.
Could we then do, the next meeting is what, September 25th? Could that be the second reading?
Would that be enough time, Joanna?
Is that enough time?
Actually, the deadline to meet the 10-day requirement was today for the 25th.
So that just,
Because today is the deadline to be advertised in the 15th for the 25th meeting, which gives you the 10-day notice.
Okay.
so
Madam Attorney.
So if you have a meeting next week, then you can start I guess the day after with the notice 10 days later before the 30th, just extending the time only. And then when you got to a point, unless the commission terminates it earlier, which you would do by another ordinance. So once you got to a point where you had something that you wanted to bring back, this just allows the education period to take place longer, which I think one of you suggested.
I want to hear from Madam Clerk real quick.
So let me just say this. We typically advertise in the Miami Herald Neighbors section, which is less expensive than the local section of the Miami Herald. Now, the deadlines are different for the local section, and we may be able to still get an ad in the local section to meet the 25th. However, the cost difference is several $1,000s for an ad. So just for your consideration.
thank you. To the sponsor, I would be amenable, I guess, if it's a future agenda item, I don't know. I'd be amenable to a special meeting sometime next week. And then 10 days after that, you could have a second, even if it just means extended the time to allow you to put your amendments together. I just want to I'm just hoping that we don't hit the 30th where it's enforceable. And that's the only thing I'm trying to avoid. And I guess listen to the attorney. The only way to do that is to have something next week to the second meeting 10 days later. And the clerk, I mean, I guess to the clerk, Mr. Mayor, would that still cost us the additional thousands?
Yes, Commissioner Kelly.
Well, how many thousands we
Does it-
talking?
Let me ask real quick. Through the mayor, does it, and I don't know if this is illegal or what, does it have to be enforced by the city?
I wouldn't through the man, I would not say publicly for you all to
Understand.
put that on the
Okay.
record and say that you're not going to enforce things. So all I can
Okay.
tell you is that it is your law. It would be your law,
Okay,
right?
got it. So I'm gonna go with the special meeting. I think you said it had to be next week, Madam Attorney or Madam Clerk?
In order to make your,
Oh, no, no, I'm sorry. That was several thousands you said. Okay. No, no. So then, oh,
If you don't mind, Mr. Manager, I'm sorry, what's the penalty for, because it seems like we're stuck. The day is the 30th day. So if I get on October 1st and I get a citation from code enforcement, what, is it a warning or is it
It's a warning.
without payment?
Yes,
For how long is the warning? How long do you have to cure it?
30 days.
Okay, and if, oh, okay.
that's enough.
That- yeah,
Okay,
leave it in.
all right. Thank you. We did all that. Okay.
All right. All right, any other question? I mean, any other future agenda items? All right, going on to the mayor and manager, the mayor and commission report. We can start. She said no. We're gonna start right to left. Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad that we hopefully come to some agreement on the RV ordinance, so I don't have to spend time on that because I had it in my report because there's no other way for me to discuss it. And let me just say for the public, to my colleague, anything that I do or propose or in a meeting is never done to slight any one of my colleagues or their agenda or their items. So if you felt that way, I do apologize. But many items come to me in my office or meet me Monday. And if you look at the record of folks that came, I was very clear that I wasn't the sponsor of the legislation, that folks would come and talk about it. I have my own opinion, which I was not going to go into detail about. But I'm still very adamant and clear on the education part, which was the 90 days. And that's what I was very clear on and still clear on as to that should have taken place. And it did not take place in the way the legislation appeared. So if you felt that I was overstepping on your legislation, please accept my apology because that wasn't my intent. But I do hear the concerns of residents and homeowners about this issue, some of which was expressed tonight. Not saying we don't need to deal with the RV ordinance, but also some amendments and possibly making it more palatable and also making it where residents would understand what we're doing. So I'm glad to see that you're going to work on that, and I look forward to supporting you in that effort. The second thing is a feasibility study updates covering February to July. And we had quite a few, Mr. Manager. And I want to just, if you don't have it tonight, which I know you wouldn't, but if you can get the commission an update, because some of these go back to last year. And maybe some have occurred and maybe we just weren't aware of them, but they've been out there for a while. Some of them are financially impact, and that's why I'm bringing them up. One is I think the gun buyback program, which I think we allocated some funding for, which was passed back in June of 2023. The mayor shaking his head. I don't know what has happened or what happened. And we allocated $10,000 for the gun buyback. Matter of fact, was sponsored by the mayor.
Pardon me, Commissioner Kelly, through the mayor. Do you want me to respond to you?
No.
Because I do have.
No, I don't want to respond to all of them because I have like 10 of them. I just want to give them to you. I know you got it because why you on top of it because you saw it in that report. That's why I put it in there.
Okay.
I don't want to spend all the time to respond.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I just want to put on the record to make sure the ones you have are the ones I'm concerned about because it's not all of them. The gun buyback because it had a fiscal impact. The other one was the steps for placement of signs around Wilmington Street Canal because those signs are still not there. This was passed in February 15. And so we need to know what's happening because they're still, all over the place. The other one was a feasibility study for the food pantry at Ingram Park. Again, we didn't budget for it this year. because I was waiting on that feasibility study about establishing a food pantry. So we can get that. That was passed in May. An update on that one and the advantages and or disadvantages of transitioning from a 5-day work week to a 4-day work week. An update on where we are with that, because we actually were looking at part of legislation, hopefully having it implemented 25, 26. So I know that's a fiscal thing. The other one was the signage for city parks that was passed March 18. Shabandi has the signage. I've seen it. Looks real nice, but the other parks don't have the signage. So we need to find out. I'm assuming you contract that out, but maybe they haven't got to it. Need to get to that one as well. And my colleague mentioned the playground, but the improvement plan for Siegel and Ingram Park. Just an update on where we are with that, because that was February 28th. And also, I know the traffic study that we passed for Jan and Ahmad, an update on that one, where we are with that as well. I know the Arabian Nights we passed in our budget, and also the one for pedestrian crosswalk on Alabama and the direction school zone that was sponsored by Commissioner Bass. I just want to get an update on all of those because they're kind of like 4 or 5 months in. What's going on with those, as well as the one for the engineering study for Miami-Dade for the no parking signs in various areas in the city. So if you could provide that to the commission, update on those, where we are, because some of them do have a financial impact, to make sure we're on board before we get to that last budget hearing.
Yes, sir.
In case we do. Thank you. The other one is the jet skis, I think for Ingram Park. That's why I mentioned about the improvement plan, because as you know, that corner area down there was really designed for a jet ski entrance. So we can look at that as part of the park improvement plan to, instead of going through Wilmington, you use that area over there. And I want feasibility because you can charge.
Yes.
Because all the folks charge you to put the jet skis in, but at least we have a better control over it and not have the traffic off of Wilmington. So that's what I have in my report. You can give us all the updates on it as soon as possible.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Mr. Manager, you said that you had the answers to those.
Yes.
So can you email that to the commission, please?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, the gun buyback program is not on here because it wasn't a feasibility study, but the gun buyback program is in the budget at $10,000.
So just put it, write it down when you send the email in there.
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
Thank you.
please, Vice Mayor, sorry.
Yes, hi, I won't be long. I had the opportunity on on Sunday to take 14 people to a Marlins game where they gave us what I call the sweet life. We were literally in a suite there at the Marlins Stadium, valet parking, lunch. They really did us right. And I want to say thanks to the people that made that happen for us. Also, I know that we have a criminal investigation going on with one of our park staff. If I can just get a closing date or how long this investigation should last. It's been like a few months now, 2 months or so. If we can have some idea of like that being completed. Also, I'd like to wish our Parks and Rec a safe travel over the weekend. They're going to go up to Fort Pierce for a football game. Also, our Seniors on the Move is going to be going to their 9-10-day trip to Niagara Falls. I wish them safe travel as well. And I think that is just about it for my report. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Kelly, you said you wanted to make an announcement?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I also want to, of course, we had Meet Me Monday on this past Monday. Dr. Gallen was our guest speaker, and talk a little bit about education and programs that are going on. Certainly always thank the community for coming out for Meet Me Monday. Also on next bingo is this week, right? You gonna mention that,
Friday.
right?
I was
You
gonna
gonna mention that. But this Saturday, we're gonna have, as part of Hispanic Heritage Month, a taste of Opa-locka from 3 to 6 at Shabani Pavilion. Invite the entire community out. We're going to have a bingo tournament and a taste of Opa-locka, various foods in the community. Going to have a mariachi band and other things. So come out for the community, enjoy that. Of course, I'm saying it now. You'll see the flyer because it's been asked about. The DMV will be at Helen Miller on next Friday as a part of our Feeding South Florida outreach. The DMV will be back, but you do have to register online for that service, but they will be there for those who need IDs or anything. They were able to come back this month. They've been out because of the hurricane, but they'll be back this month. So you can go online and register if you need to take advantage of that. And I think that's about it for the moment, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Bass.
Thank you. And to my brothers and sisters who will be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, have a wonderful time. Enjoy. On Saturday, September 21st, Mayor and Commission, sponsored by myself, will be hosting our annual baby shower, a baby shower, in commemoration with celebrating National Baby Safety Month. It's going to be at Shabandi Village Auditorium, 2 to 5, and you would have to register online and make sure that you have your proof that you are a resident of the great city of Opa-locka, because I believe that our funds should go to our people. So again, we're going to be having our National Baby Safety Month event. Vendors from everywhere will be there September 21st, 2 to 5 o'clock at Shabandi Village. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Williams.
Okay, first, let me say thank you, Commissioner Bass, for doing, I think this is the year 3. And I've always said, hampers are just beyond expensive. And so, thank you for providing that, and thank you to the board. I do want to give a special shout out to Coach Trent. Wherever you are, you hear me somewhere. Coach Trent, I got to shout him out. Jalen is officially an Opa-locka Hurricane football player. And thank you to the village, Miss Ray, Trent, everyone that supports me. It's not easy being a single parent, and you need support at all terms. Shout out to the ladies. I don't know all their names, but shout out to the ladies that do the cheerleading squad. Like, man, it's like 100 of them out there.
Miss Chris.
Miss Chris, and it's a bunch of other. They are like so precision. They look amazing. And I'm hearing Jalen doing cheers at home. I'm like, what you? Because they're so, it's just, yeah, you hear it, right? You hear it. So shout out to those ladies. Shout out to the coaches, all the coaches, and not just football, but basketball and everything that we have. It's hard work being out there because, sitting as a football parent now, sitting at the park from 6 to 8 is not easy. And so let me tell you, but it's rewarding. And just to see the faces, I look forward to Saturday's game. I keep hearing about Saturday's game. Who knows? But again, Coach Trent, you're the man. Okay. Secondly, I want to say that I will be hosting a community resource fair the first week of October. I'll get back with you with that. And food will be provided. Community, that's what we're here for. Secondly, I just want to say that when I brought the RV legislation, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but when I brought the RV legislation, it was to improve and it was for the betterment of our homeowners. And if I don't listen to the homeowners, if I don't listen to our residents, then I'm sitting up here for nothing. And I will say that I was here at the workshop and I heard everyone. I made it a point to not talk. I made it a point to listen with my un poquito español. I know quite a bit, actually. I grew up in Hialeah a little bit. I did, actually. You know what I'm saying, my school. I went to school.
Highly in my mind.
I didn't go to Hialeah.
You should have.
But so I heard you, and I want you to know that I am not against anyone. That is not what I'm here for, but it is to bring legislation. Since I've been on the board for 4 years, it has always been about beautification for the city. That has always been my goal, my task. And if I don't stick to my guns, and even if it is about improving, and even if it is about when others say, well, we have other things going on, that's, you know, garbage and illegal dumping, we do. And as a board, we do try to work on it, but it is a complete eyesore. But at the end of the day, I never want to hurt people that are trying to do something recreational with their family. And that's not the plan. But if you are, you cannot, like, we cannot continue to use our city to make money. There are laws on the books. I can't turn my house into a corner store. I can't turn my house into a beauty salon. I'm not supposed to. It happens. So we can't turn our homes into apartments. And when we do that, and we hear water bills, we hear electricity, that has to end. So at the end of the day, it's not about race, because I've been accused twice. Yes, I'm just saying and put it on record. I've been accused. But at the end of the day, we have to do what's best for our city. It's infrastructure. It's trash, electricity, water. So you drive by and see how many garbage cans you see now. Families are now, some houses have 2, and there's a reason to that. But you pay for it. And so that's my point. So, you know, I'm just going to say my goal, and although I am not running, and it's been a thrill these 4 years running for reelection. I'm glad I'm not, because this is, oh, Jesus. But, oh my God. Well, y'all got running. But anyway, I'm not running, but at the end of the day, it's about leaving a legacy. And I want to leave a legacy. And I want to, at the end of the day, be known as, that was the commissioner that cared about beautification of this city. And if that's not what I'm going to be about, I'm going to tell you about you lining your pockets. Because this room should have been filled when I proffered the item. This room should have been filled first reading. And this room was semi-filled second reading. We did nothing. We did everything by the book. We did everything the way we did it tonight, the way we do things every night. So the notion that we did something unfair, the notion that we did something illegal or under the table, or we did not let people know, this is our process and this is how it works. We pass laws every time we come. You can see how many items was on the books. And these items will turn into ordinances. Some of them will, and there are laws. So that's how it works. So we need to educate ourselves and understand how this process works. Former commissioner, you could tell, how it works. You should know. So nonetheless, I want to thank everyone for the pros and the cons. And I look forward to bringing back an amendment to the legislation. Again, thank you for the board, for everything that you've done. Thank you.
We're gonna. What we'll do is we'll get you connected with our clerk, and then she'll answer your question. All right. So, mine report is simple. Vice Mayor did not do it, but bingo is Friday at 6 p.m. Okay. And we also have the budget hearing, the second budget hearing on September 25th, Mr. Anderson, at
September 25th at 6
at
p.m.
6 p.m. right here in the chamber. So we just want to make you all aware. Mr. Manager, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
All right. Mr. Manager, for the sake of time, Gloria the Gardens and the financial oversight, just send it to us in writing unless we all have, does anybody have questions? Okay. They
Yes,
also
sir.
Just send it.
Yes, sir.
And Commissioner Kelly, go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to mention, she didn't mention it because I hear about it, although I can't even make it because of the time. Commissioner Bass had chess on Saturday. I hardly ever can get there because of my schedule, but I do appreciate the chess. I'm gonna get there one of these days. But I do hear about it. Thank you for doing that. The other thing to the manager, and I know you're having something early and I'm having something late, Mr. Manager, if we could see if we can get the PR folks out here at least for some period of time, a little bit for Commissioner Bass, and then, because I don't know how that process works. We have to
Yes,
give a
sir.
certain day notice or something, or?
I'll reach out to Ms. Mockins
Okay.
tomorrow and have an answer for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and one last thing, I do want to shout out, Officer, oh God, what is her name? Me, Commissioner Kelly and the Vice Mayor attended the graduation for the Explorers.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I love
you.
the fact that our young people are engaged. Huh?
Need some uniforms.
Okay, and I was just about to
Man,
say.
trying to be nice. We need some new
My
uniforms.
point
That's
is
all.
that, Mr. Manager, I know we're passing the budget, so I want you all to consider, we need to pour into our children. We need to increase, because though the ceremony was good, I want us to be, look our best. Okay, so I
I
want
think
us
it's
to.
in the budget from.
No. Not.
A little
Yeah.
better. Okay, a little
You know what
better
I
in the
mean.
budget.
That one he's
Okay.
shaking his head. He knows exactly what I mean.
Exactly.
He knows exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
He trust me, he knows what I mean. So we need to, and Shabecca check out because she knows what I mean. So we have to invest in our children. They put their best foot forward that night. And I am sad to say that no one saw it because it was a great program. And I wish we would have done better. And I wish I want to do over. So once we get those uniforms, we need to redo that program so that everybody can witness it. The PR firm wasn't here. It was downstairs in the chamber. I mean, it was the police did that. I'm not mad what the police did. They did their job with what they could do. But I want to, since this is coming back for the first time in years, I want to make a big deal out of it. And I know Commissioner Kelly been screaming this for the longest about the Explorers, but that's where I'm at. So kudos to Officer Dunn. Thank you. That's her name. Thank you, Stephen. Officer Dunn, Officer Shevington. I don't remember the other officer. It was one more. Officer Dunn, Shevington, and they know who they are. All right. So other than that,
Mr. Mayor,
go ahead.
as you're closing, is Mr. Manager, is Mr. King here? King Leonard, is he here?
He hiding out the door.
Could you have him come for a second? No, this is a good thing. I got to do this because I told him I was going to do it. Well, I see him hiding.
He hiding.
Mr. King Leonard, I just want to thank you for your staff to help out. But the gentleman that listens to the radio while he bagging, please let him know I talked about him tonight. I told him I was for the great job he does, and all of them do. But I wanted to mention because he's on point, listen to his music, but he's getting it done. So I said I was going to mention. I just saw it in my notes, so I didn't want to forget it. Great job. Thank you.
So like Commissioner Kelly said, we just say thank you to the staff as a whole. You all are doing an awesome job. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your willingness. And thank you for what you all are doing for the city to make sure that it moves forward. The next one is, last but not least, official board appointment. Please, official board appointments. If we have none, I do.
Mr. Mayor?
One for historical preservation.
Yes.
So I'm going to proffer this person, Miss
Maritza Hernandez.
Hernandez. For the Historic Preservation Board, it is an at-large appointment, so can I get a second on that?
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, we can go ahead and call the roll. To appoint her to the Historic Preservation Board.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Baz.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, thank you for that. We're getting ready to adjourn. So we just want to keep the.
Mr. Mayor,
family-
I just got a message from our Community Development Department to remind the commission that we are invited to a groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the Redwood Mosaic Apartment Complex, which is our first housing development in the city in 12 years.
Got it. So thank you for that. All right, so we want to keep the families that were affected in prayer for 9/11, and we also want to celebrate the heroes that arose during that time. Also, September is both Hispanic Heritage Month, which it bleeds into October. Also, it is also Suicide Prevention Month. So we want to keep those that are battling with depression in prayer. So there's that. So we're gonna can I have a motion to adjourn? Move it. Moved by Commissioner Kelly.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. This meeting is adjourned.